Chapter 821 Conqueror Practice. I think you should go to Golden Lion Shiki to discuss this, he should be more interested in this. Hearing Shajirqing's answer, Sabo said, you don't need to act now, just form an alliance. You arrive at the final place in the future and know the secrets hidden in the World Palace, and the World Palace will definitely not let you go. Cooperation can make us stronger and will not be defeated by each other. As a hero like you, you shouldn't fail to understand this. Sabo has enough confidence that Shajirqing will promise himself. Before coming, Dragon told him. Shajirqing looks harmless to humans and animals, but in fact it is the most troublesome. As among the 6 emperors, he is the most low-key and the most wily existence. He has very big ambitions, and his favorite thing to do is to build the plank road in the open, darken the warehouse, and grow in a vulgar way. Its power is the greatest, and whoever can unite with him has the right to speak in the world. And the existence of the world's government, he was born to be opposed to it, and the two sides were incompatible. There is bound to be a winner. And the person who loses must not necessarily be Shajirqing. Dragon never sees people wrong, so Sabo is very confident, Shajirqing will definitely agree to him. Interesting, does your revolutionary army finally have enough confidence to face the world's government? Looking at Sabo, Shajirqing's eyes were calm and looked quite calm. Sabo replied, there is no such thing as fire and water, there must be a battle. We have to prepare first. I can consider your suggestion. Hearing Shajirqing's answer, Sabo immediately stood up. Happy cooperation. Happy cooperation. Shajirqing and Sabo shook hands, and the alliance between the Sha Chamber of Commerce and the Revolutionary Army was officially established. However, after all, it is a sneaky establishment, and naturally it will not announce the world. Otherwise, the sea will be completely turbulent, and the world's government and marine will definitely do whatever it takes to destroy the Revolutionary Army here. Or the Summer Chamber of Commerce. I didn't expect to get a joint invitation from the Revolutionary Army. It's interesting. This world is completely different. Shajirqing stood on the vines of the Sky Island gods, looking down at the entire Sky Island complex, like a real god. With a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth, he slowly clenched his fists. Now, it's probably a success. Sky Island at this time is far from that scene. All kinds of exquisite buildings have sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain, with high-rise buildings and perfect functional divisions. Moreover, the area has also increased several times. There are nearly 100,000 people living on Sky Island, all of whom are warriors with different strengths than ordinary people. Under Sky Island, near Nine Snake Island, the Summer Chamber of Commerce has also opened up 3 islands as bases. It is the branch of the Nine Snake Island Summer Chamber of Commerce, where the captains of the major fleets are stationed. Nine Snake Island is no longer a forbidden area for men to enter, but the rules are still strict. Anyone who can enter is a good family member who has been strictly investigated. Today's Summer Chamber of Commerce occupies 15% of the world's total power. It can be said to be the strongest single force apart from the world government and marine. After all, the world's government only occupies 25% of it. Under the control of such a huge force, it is naturally an absolute tyrannical force, and has already stood at the top of the rule-making. This feeling, very cool. This feeling is what Shajirqing wants. Wealth, fame, status, power, beauty. He has it all. Life is satisfied. He naturally had to talk to Whitebeard and Golden Lion about his cooperation with the Revolutionary Army. Naturally, the two of them will not have any opinions. After all, Golden Lion was originally a war madman, and his goal was originally the world government. Damn Shajirqing, this old man must be avenged. Onishima, Kaido, who has been in a coma for nearly half a year, finally woke up. He let out a humiliating roar that shook the entire island, shaking all over the place. All nations, Cake Island. This world is getting more and more interesting, well. Bigu Mamu smiled terribly. She looked at the people in the world in front of her and waved her hand. Your request, I agreed. Isho, World Government Officer. It was a pretty sensible choice. The world is still turbulent in secret, but on the surface, it has settled down peacefully. The major forces of all parties seem to have suddenly become silent overnight. They are all immersed in developing their own strengths. This made the business of the entire sea suddenly reach the most prosperous stage in history. And all of this is inseparable from the support of the Summer Chamber of Commerce. Because the ships of the Summer Chamber of Commerce are transporting almost non-stop on the sea day and night, transporting the things they need for major commercial places. With the support of the Summer Chamber of Commerce and mutual cooperation, no other forces dare to interfere, so it really makes people feel that doing business is a lot easier. Time passes slowly. Shajirqing, who is idle, is either in charge of walking the baby all day, or is in a daze. Of course, it's just a matter of training a straw hat Luffy once in a while. The feeling of being smashed by the thunder, Luffy felt really sour. What rubber insulation! The impact and heat generated by the current of hundreds of millions of volts is enough to make Luffy drink a pot. Luffy wants to stop being paralyzed. Armament Haki has to work hard. Only when Armament Haki is strong can this pain be relieved. Of course, if Shajirqing was really bored, he would also help Luffy to exercise the spirit of a king. Conqueror, although it is born, it is difficult to grow the day after tomorrow. It must be greatly improved as the user's spirit is strong. But it doesn't prevent Shajirqing from ravaging, destroying Luffy madly. Let him increase his knowledge, and then improve the Conqueror. Boom boom boom. Another day of Conqueror confrontation. Two invisible forces, with endless majesty and heavy oppression, raged. Most of the animals on the island were all shivering and crawling down. This oppression is so terrifying that even the surrounding woods are constantly bursting. The earth can't stand the cracking. Luffy is still too immature to confront a conqueror with a monster like Shajirqing. He felt that he was like a small boat in a storm, with the illusion that it would be overturned at any time, and he kept retreating, his face full of effort. This pressure is too heavy and too condensed. Luffy felt a huge piece of lead pressing down on him, causing his bones to rattle. This feeling is so desperate and terrifying. Chapter 822 times are developing. Is this the strength of the Sea Overlord? But I won't give up. NLT, P and GT. After several, Life Education, by Shajirqing, Luffy is still a little different from the original. At least, it won't be so snarky, and dare to provocate any enemy. And around the two, there are several huge monsters watching. They are respectively a golden lion 20 meters tall, a silver-maned ironback orangutan with a height of 30 meters, a white crane with iron feathers that is 20 meters tall even when squatting, a two-headed Shira saber-toothed tiger 10 meters tall. Beside it, there is also a circling sinister Orochi, wrapped in purple-black scales, with a bulge on its head, showing signs of developing in the direction of the dragon. These five are the overlords on this island. Under the influence of two people's battles for many years, they have also learned two-color hockey. If any of them break out Conqueror, Shajirqing may really want to circle them. This is simply amazing. 1 year later. I found the historical text for you, you can set me free. Kid looked at Shajirqing who was smiling in front of him, and said with a gloomy expression. Not bad. Hockey, the level of fruit ability development has improved a lot. Looking at Kid, Shajirqing praised and said, of course, you can go, you have recovered your freedom. When Kid heard the words, he turned around and left immediately. If he could, he would never want to come here in his life. Kid is the third person to send the historical text stone tablet. The earliest is Hawkins, which was delivered half a year ago, followed by EPUB. Hey, next, will you continue to challenge Kaido like in the original? NLT, P and GT. Looking at Kid who was far away, Shajirqing narrowed his eyes and thought expectantly. Then, He glanced at Luffy in the straw hat who was fighting with Orochi and the double-headed Ashura saber-toothed tiger in 4th gear, and smiled a bit cheaply. Hey, Doflamingo, I don't know if you will come across him in the future. This new star is so strong. Because of Shajir-Ching, the strength of those monsters on Winter Island is even higher than in the original book. Therefore, this leads to the fact that Luffy's basic strength and the strength of the 4th gear are stronger. Thinking of Doflamingo's encounter with Luffy in the straw hat in the future, he feels sour for some reason. Shajir-Ching has completely changed it. Shajir-Ching does not know how to develop in the future, but he is looking forward to it. Because it's more interesting. This era is like magic. After escaping the clutches of Shajir-Ching, Kid and the others went to challenge Kaido of the beasts just like in the original book. It's just slightly different that the Kid trio isn't like in the original this time. Kid was seriously injured and captured. Hawkins wisely joined the beast pirates. Apu escaped and continued to wander the sea. This time, all three managed to escape after provoking Kaido of the beasts. It is said that Kaido really exploded his lungs. Thinking of Kaido's frantic appearance, Shajir-Ching wanted to laugh inexplicably. That picture must be quite beautiful. Sky Island, Roronoa Zoro and Shiryu the Rain are still fighting fiercely, practicing their sword skills. Waiting for the day when he can defeat Hawkeye, ascend to the position of the world's largest swordsman, and fulfill the promise of his childhood. Nami is still saying that she is working hard to learn navigation, and does not occasionally work part-time as an aunt to take care of the young Shajir-Ching. Robin is still reading the book calmly, day after day. And Shajir-Ching has begun to visit his two ancestors from time to time. The temperament of the two women during pregnancy really changed and it started to feel a little strange. Sometimes, Shajir-Ching can only smile bitterly when some requests are made. How could he, an ordinary person, fulfill the requirement of picking the stars and picking the moon? But most of the requirements, he can still do, no matter how difficult it is. There are not many problems in this world that it is difficult to get Shajir-Ching. Shajir-Ching is really responsive to the requests made by his two ancestors, and he never tires of it. Absolutely exemplary husband. Even Clea didn't feel emotional. It's been a long time since I met such a responsible man as Shajir-Ching. Hancock and Anna endured were indeed worth it. They didn't follow the wrong person. However, what makes Shajir-Ching a little melancholy is that he still has no clues about the fourth historical text of the road sign. Where will they be? Shajir-Ching often looked at the sea like this, thinking in his heart. The Straw Hat Luffy on Winter Island has entered the last moment of cultivation. He's already been able to defeat several of those animals that know hockey. When he can completely defeat these animals, it is time for him to leave. And elsewhere in the sea, Kaido is still working on his artificial devil fruit research, and, with the support of the world government, has been quite effective and has increased his strength a bit. Charlotte Linlin is still looking for delicious food to satisfy her appetite. Moreover, because of this matter, there was a conflict with Golden Lion, and a battle was fought. Marine also stopped the second round of the world conscription, basically made up for the loss, and there are several good seedlings of the new generation. For example, the admiral candidate who was expected to take over as admiral with Momoshiki and Chaton Tokikake, Red Ogre Batongwan. And Oro Hunter Gurrent, known as the Marine Genius. This guy happened to be guarding the Sabayati archipelago, always thinking about making trouble for Shajir-Ching. Threatened to eliminate the big pirates like Shajir-Ching, to eliminate harm for the people, and to maintain justice. But in Shajir-Ching's eyes, this is just a stupid and strange idiot. The strength is not good, but the spirit is higher than the sky. Of course, there are Garp's two disciples who don't show much landscape, Kobe, Helmeppo. These two people made Shajir-Ching still a little interested. In the rest of the world, nothing has happened to the sea, and the Revolutionary Army is still low-key, but it has already begun to prepare for the overthrow of the world government. Golden Lion combat robot is also in mass production, and its strength is similar to that of a pacifist, maybe a little less. But this is not important, it is enough to have this kind of strength. Both Shajirching and Golden Lion are equipped with many such combat robots as their backbone. I believe that when Marine finds out about this, she will be very happy. To be able to do this, it is inseparable from the strength of gills. This scientist is quite powerful. Shajirching himself has not stopped the research on artificial devil fruit, and it has also begun to bear fruit. With experts like Caesar Current there is no need to worry about bad results. Chapter 823 Sabayati Archipelago, come again. A considerable number of people have eaten devil fruits and gained abilities. And most devil fruits contain a little lightning effect. This comes from Shajirching's blood. After Caesar Curon had dialyzed Shajirching's bloodline, he added his bloodline factor, and the effect seemed to be good. After all, most of his artificial devil fruits are Zone S. Only a few who are not affected by Shajirching's bloodline factor will mutate into Paramesha. In terms of effect, there are good and bad, and the effect is against the sky. If the fruit is blurred, as long as the reaction is fast enough, no one can touch their own body, and they can also blur others. There are also less ideal ones, such as shut-up fruit, whose ability is to make people shut up. Therefore, most people choose Zone Devil fruit. After all, the ability of this type of fruit is good. Shajirching called this army of artificial devil fruit capable people, talented people. Their appearance is not much different from the giver of the Kaido pirates. It's just that Kaido's giver will basically take the form of an animal, retaining only a few human features. The talented, on the other hand, basically maintains human characteristics, but only slightly changes to animal characteristics. For example, the head has horns, the nails become claws, and the back of the buttocks has a long tail. No matter how bad it is, the teeth become sharper and longer. Other than that, nothing has changed. When they fight, they are like fur tribes. In addition to Zone's own strength, speed, and defense enhancement, they also have the paralyzing effect of lightning. Excellent talents can even bless themselves with lightning and form an external effect. Time passed slowly for a month. Hancock, Anna and the two daughters finally arrived on the day of giving birth. Each gave birth to a boy. Summer. Shajirching instantly had two more younger brothers. Good work. Looking at the two women with pale faces, like two women fished out of water, Shajirching held their hands and said softly. At this time, it was a moment of tenderness that belonged to the three of them. Children, with Kurha to take care of. The interior of the Summer Chamber of Commerce was extremely happy. The two princes meant more choices. The two little princes who were born shouting the golden key, on the day of the full moon banquet, it was really full of friends. From all over the world, anyone with a little identity will come. Even Marine sent representatives. Worldwide attention. But on this day, the protagonists are not the two children, but their beautiful and moving mother. On this day, the shocking wedding of Shajirching and two beauties was also held at the same time. There is no wedding that compares to Hancock and Anna. This wedding shocked the whole sea. Nearly 300,000 people participated in person. The number of people watching through the phone bug is in the billions. Who doesn't want to see the wedding of the strongest man in the world? What's more, the wife of the strongest man in the world, one of them is Hancock, the most beautiful woman. Who doesn't want to feast their eyes? And after this wedding and full moon feast, the power of the world has completed a major reshuffle. Time has come to the Sea Circle calendar 1522. This year, Straw Hat Luffy, who has finished his training on Winter Island, joins his friends at Sabayati Archipelago. Immediately, the news that the once famous Straw Hat Luffy was about to gather in Sabayati Archipelago caused an uproar in Sabayati Archipelago. Although this one is not very good compared to those emperors on the sea, but it's a supernova after all, and, as a challenge to Admiral in the Battle of the Top, and become the second person to escape the impel down. His name is even more powerful than other supernovas. And today, the Straw Hat Pirates gathered here will definitely set off a new situation. Father, I heard that Sabayati Archipelago is very lively, take me to see it. On the Nine-Snake Island, the little Lolita Shah-Jaring, who is more than 3 years old and has the ability to think, looks at his father, Shah-Ching, with watery eyes. And beside Shah-Ching, Sha-Chen and Sha-Mu, 2 little boys, climbed up and down on him, giving out crisp laughter from time to time. Aren't you just there? Sabayati Archipelago is about to be ruined by you. Shah-Ching scratched his head and said very distressed. His daughter inherited most of his and Anna's fine bloodlines. The physical quality is much stronger than the 2 of them at the beginning, and because of the existence of Sherinian, she inexplicably has a strength that is even stronger than that of ordinary adults. Therefore, when she was playing at Sabayati Archipelago, she, the little devil, almost destroyed all kinds of children's amusement facilities because she couldn't control her power. Oh, my father, I just want to go see it, okay. Father's people love me the most, take me to see, okay. I heard that there is a Straw Hat Pirates gathering today, it must be very exciting, take me to see it. Shah-Jaring saw Shah-Ching's obvious refusal, and immediately took out the ultimate killer, acting like a spoiled child. He grabbed Shah-Ching's arm and shook it, as if Shah-Ching didn't agree to her, she would not stop. Okay, take you there, if you shake it again, my old bones will fall apart. Shah-Ching looks like 25 or 6 this year, but in fact, he is 32 and is about to enter his prime. Now, he is no longer the white-faced and beardless man, with a stubble on his face, which makes him even more majestic. Yeah, I knew that my father is the best and hurts me the most. Hearing that Shah-Ching promised him, Shah-Jaring jumped high and slapped Shah-Ching's face. Your reward, father. Shah-Jaring smiled like a flower, and the 2 little children of Sha-Chen and Sha-Mu also laughed immediately, the snot of the laughing boss. Really, can't you be stricter? If you spoil her like this, you will spoil her. Anna came over with a speechless look on her face. This guy, Shah-Ching, raised the 2 boys like wild children. For the girl Shah-Ching, that is really a good thing, so good that Anna is jealous. Ha ha ha, isn't there a good saying, my daughter was my father's lover in a previous life, and she. Shah-Ching looked at Shah-Jaring, I must have forgotten to drink mengpo soup. Such disgusting words, Anna rolled her eyes when she heard it, full of anger. This kind of words, only Shah-Ching can say it. Let's go and see the fun. With Shah-Jaring on her neck, Shah-Ching set foot on the exclusive boat and set sail. There is also a small sea beast pulling the boat in front. Near Sabayati Archipelago. Gia, the Straw Hat Pirates are coming together here. It's really exciting. I don't know if they are still recruiting people. If they do, I really want to join in. Because of the news of the gathering of the Straw Hat Pirates, a large group of pirates gathered, and they were extremely excited. Chapter 824 times are developing. But this time, few of those merchants on Sabayati Archipelago panic. On the contrary, I am very happy. Che, what you sell is really expensive. A big man covered in tattoos who didn't look easy to mess with a ferocious look on his face, picked up the big knife he chose in his hand, and put down the coins. Welcome to your next visit. This boss is a little old man, and he took the money without hesitation, and then sent the big man to him. In the beginning, the big man planned to grab it outright, but when the boss pointed to the small banner at the door of the store, he suddenly became honest. That golden sun skull flag, he clearly knew what it represented. Although the reputation of joining the Summer Chamber of Commerce is not very good, the business is really good. Sure enough, there is no such thing as 2 things in this world. After the big man left, the little old boss sighed like this. Shops like him that have joined the Summer Chamber of Commerce, Sabayati Archipelago and many more. This is also the reason why many businesses are not afraid of pirates and gatherings. Because the pirates dare not mess around, they can only do business obediently. Moreover, the more pirates, the better their business, which is why they are happy. Of course, not everyone on the entire island has joined the Summer Chamber of Commerce. The ingredients on this island are complex. There are those who joined the Summer Chamber of Commerce, those who are blessed by Marine, those directly under Tenryubito, those who belong to Shichibukai forces, and the industries of other sea emperors and pirates. But the number of joining the Summer Chamber of Commerce is the largest. At this moment, thousands of pirates gather on the prosperous Sabayati archipelago. And 3 or 2 people, either leisurely or dressed strangely, are gathering towards Aunt Xiao's ripping off bar. And just like in the original book, the fake Straw Hat Gang also issued a notice to recruit partners, and immediately, the entire Sabayati archipelago was boiling. All kinds of forces suddenly started watching the show. A freckled young man with a mouth full of food muttered, "Luffy wants to recruit a companion. Why didn't I know?" Opposite him, a certain young Isho with a water pipe weapon, quite handsome and gentleman, said, "I'll find out when I see it." Some slave trade. Straw Hat Luffy, recruiting companions. An old man with glasses and white hair frowned, a little surprised. Go and sign up, join the Straw Hat Pirates, become a big pirate, and become famous all over the world today. Many pirates are heading towards the registration place. And in the sea near the Sabayati archipelago, a young man walking with a baby looked at the luxurious and rich ship hurriedly fled in front of him, for fear of being wiped out, with a question mark in his head. "Father, why did they run away when they saw us? They seem to be planning to bombard us just now." In the young man's arms, a little lowly, like a jade carving, asked curiously with a small head. The young man shrugged helplessly. "How would I know? I'm not a murderer, so what?" The youth is naturally Shajurching, and the little lowly is Shajuriing. Shajurching glanced at the boat, then stopped his own boat at the port, used the transformation technique to change his face, and brought Shajuriing ashore. Beyond that sea, on that luxurious ship, a group of guards looked at the sweaty and pale prince, and asked in a puzzled way, "His Royal Highness, why are you so afraid of a small boat, an ordinary young man? Is he very powerful?" Hearing the guard's question, the prince wiped the cold sweat from his head and showed a smile that was even uglier than crying. "Do you know who that guy is? If you know who that guy is, you'll know why I'm so scared." An LT, P and GT. Hearing this, the guard asked curiously, "Who is he? Is he a powerful character?" The prince took a long breath, and after a while, he said, "That guy is the head of the 6 emperors, the strongest man in the world, Shajurching with blood pupils, who almost killed the president of our country's Summer Chamber of Commerce. You said I'm not afraid. His." After listening to the prince's answer, all the guards could not help but breathe in fright. No wonder their prince was so frightened that they ran for their lives, and the cold sweat broke out. It turned out to be because I met this killing god. That guy, why did he come to Sabayati archipelago again? Did he come to catch the strong man again? The guards' voices trembled and asked curiously. The prince shook his head. "I don't know, but it's definitely not a good thing. A person like him can't always aim for nothing. There must be some purpose. He is certain of this." And just when he said this, all the pirates in the Sabayati archipelago suddenly felt a chill behind their backs for no reason. This creepy feeling made them feel flustered for some reason. What is this bad feeling? Many pirates swallowed. This feeling made them very uncomfortable, and they suddenly panicked inexplicably. But this feeling is only for a moment, fleeting. Probably an illusion. They all thought so in their hearts. And in the marine branch not far away. Okay, since they want to send them to the door by themselves, then I'm welcome. These evil guys, watch me lock them into impel down with my own hands. When Grant of Turkey Head heard that Luffy in the Straw Hat would gather on this island with his friends, he immediately became excited. "With me here, do you still want to recruit companions to go to sea?" HMPH, dream, today is the end of your life. Grant slammed the table with a punch, his eyes were extremely sharp. Zontaomaru on the side said, don't be so excited. The Straw Hat Luffy is important, but the other pirates should not be underestimated. Since they want to send them to the door themselves, they should all be sent to Impel Down. On weekdays, Sabayati Archipelago usually does not have many pirates gathering together, and as long as they run fast, they may not be able to catch them. Therefore, their general harvest is not very big. But today, this is simply an achievement delivered to the door, and they naturally won't let it go. Those people will be handed over to you, and the Straw Hat Pirates will be handed over to me. Gurant didn't plan to discuss with Zontaomaru at all, so he rushed out. He was accompanied by two other marine rookies, Rokushiki Genius Burnham, Swordsman Zeppa. This time, we must do a great job and completely suppress those two bastards from Kobe. Burnham said excitedly, his eyes were full of high fighting spirit. That's natural, we're all captains now, we're sure to be promoted to Commodore faster than him, and then to be an admiral candidate faster than him. The silver-haired swordsman Zeppa responded, and they wanted to be confident again. Marine, S generation, the five of them are the most prominent. Although they have all been trained in GARP for a period of time, their goals are basically the same. Driven by their competitive spirit, they are all secretly competing. And so far, they're all the same height. Chapter 825 Fake Straw Hats. They're all at captain level. But as long as these pirates are caught, they will definitely be promoted. At that time, they can beat Kobe and Helmeppo. The position of admiral must be mine. After listening to the words of the two partners, Gurant clenched his fists and said in his heart. Behind them, Zontaomaru carried an axe and led Marine and his two pacifists, PX-1 and PX-5, to set out to encircle the rest of the pirates. Sabayati Archipelago. It's so lively. Every time I come here, it's different. It is indeed the most prosperous Sabayati Archipelago. It's so interesting. Shajariang was talking with excitement like it was her first time here. And her image like a little loli has also gotten a lot of heads, and many women call her cute. What's more, he stopped and touched it, and he liked it on his face. Many people took her to take pictures, wishing she could be their daughter. Of course, there were also many people who were eyeing her secretly, but when they reported the target, all they got were severe reprimands. The girl must not move. If she does, don't blame me for being rude to clean up the door. You dare to touch that girl. You are not afraid, our entire organization is afraid. Do you still want to mess around in the new world? If you touch that girl, we are all finished. A little bit of eyesight. Is that something we can move? Go ask Kaido of the beasts if he dares to move her. If you have a harder head than Kaido, pretend I never said that. These people all received severe reprimands and warnings from the organization behind them, which also made these people dispel their thoughts about Shajariang. Originally, I was thinking of grabbing it and selling it at a good price, but now I can't afford it, so forget it. The organization behind them, looking at the photo of Shajariang smiling as brightly as a flower in front of them, all looked overly frightened. Who knows how furious Shajariang's killing god will be, and how Whitebeard's monster will settle accounts. This is simply a little princess who can run wild, and it's too late for them to hold her, let alone move their thoughts on her. Father, go to Big Brother Straw Hat's place. After strolling around for a while, Shajariang lost interest and went to the place where Straw Hat Luffy and the others gathered. Okay, I really can't do anything about you. Shajariang sighed helplessly, and headed towards the ruined city near the port. That's a pretty remote place where pirates gather. Grumble. But at this moment, Shajariang made a sound of hunger. Oh, let's go eat first. Seeing this, Shajariang walked towards the restaurant. When you are full, you have the strength to watch the fun when you are full. Shajariang was very diligent in ingesting food, a bowl of gruel. Shajariang chewed on the beef jerky and sipped the wine boredly. There are many pirates around, and from time to time, someone's eyes swept over them with malicious eyes. It's just that if they knew the real identity of the target of their crooked idea was Shajur Ching, they would be paralyzed on the ground in fright. Just this one, little ones. At this time, a very impatient voice suddenly came from outside the door. I saw a big fat man with a proud face and full of arrogance kicked in the door. He was wearing the same outfit as the Straw Hat Luffy, but he looked so different. And behind him, a group of crooked melons and cracked dates dressed up in the Straw Hat Pirates also walked in. Seeing them, Shajur Ching couldn't help sighing, it's really fate. But the originally noisy tavern suddenly became quiet because of their appearance. Obviously, they all seem to recognize the identity of this group of people, and they all have fear and panic on their faces. The big fat man in the straw hat was very satisfied with everyone's reaction, and looked around like an emperor, and then, "Are you all blind? Don't hurry up and serve the wine and food, neglect us, and be careful, I will kill you." The arrogant fat man in the lead pulled out the pistol around his waist and pointed at the boss, and scolded quite arrogantly. Gollum. The boss was so frightened that his face suddenly turned pale. He quickly gave the waiter a wink, and then raised his hands in surrender. "Sir something well. HMPH, you know each other," the big fat man snorted coldly, very satisfied with the boss's response. Hearing this, the boss was relieved immediately, but the big fat man immediately said, "But, if you can't serve wine and food within 5 minutes, you will die." As soon as these words came out, the boss's hands trembled in fright. It's hard for a strong man. The boss's powerless drinking, combined with his pale complexion, vividly reflected the difficulty of the people at the bottom of the world to survive. "Dare to refuse me, then you will die," the big fat man laughed jokingly, raising his hand and pulling the trigger. Bang! But just as the bullet was about to go out, a chopstick suddenly shot out, knocking out the pistol in his hand and saving the boss. "Which bastard?" The big fat man glanced away angrily. "Kill him, who will serve you the wine." In this man's angry eyes, Shajur Ching carried him behind his back and said leisurely, "Boy, for disturbing me, do you want to die?" The big fat man rushed over in 3 or 2 steps, slapped his palm on the table, and shouted coldly. Shajur Ching quickly picked up Shajur Reading, grabbed the porridge bowl, and the next moment, the table cracked and fell down. "I don't know if I want to die or not, but you're affecting my meal. I'll give you 3 seconds to get out." Shajur Ching glanced at him coldly, which made the big man tremble in his heart. This gaze, as sharp as a knife, is scary. But he was immediately angry again. With his previous status, he would naturally withdraw immediately. But now, it's different. "Boy, do you know who I am?" The big fat man looked at Shajur Ching gloomily. "The labor and management are the Straw Hat Luffy, the big pirate who made a big fuss in Marineford 2 years ago. Why are you afraid?" Looking at Shajur Ching, whose face was still calm, he suddenly became angry. He felt despised. "Give you 3 seconds to kneel down and apologize, and personally toast to pay 10 million Bailey's repair fee, and I can spare your life. Otherwise, you will surely die miserably. I, Straw Hat Luffy, have 3,000 younger brothers, and I will do what I say." Shajur Ching glanced at him. "So, what if I say no? Can you kill me? The real Luffy is just his toy, let alone a fake." "Oh, it's the first time I've been threatened, doesn't it feel uncomfortable? This uncle is so annoying." At this time, Shajur Reading, who had worked hard to finish the porridge, looked at the big fat man with jewel-like eyes and said with a frown, "Chapter 826 Battle Peach Maru is here." The scene suddenly fell into an even more deadly silence. The rest of the tavern couldn't help but look at Shajur Reading and Shajur Ching in horror. These two father and daughter are too dare to say it. The person in front of them was the Straw Hat Luffy, the big pirate with a bounty of 400 million. It is the existence that they dare not provoke at all. Don't they know that Straw Hat Luffy wants to kill them? It's a simple matter of moving a finger. Giggle. Hearing these words, the big man in the straw hat suddenly trembled with anger, and his eyes almost burst into flames. Okay, if you dare to offend me, Straw Hat Luffy, like this, then I will let you know how good I am today. The big man in straw hat pointed at Shajir-Ching and the two with grim faces. He glanced at the pirates present, and then shouted in an orderly manner, "Go to me and teach him a good lesson. I will make him the Straw Hat Pirates for his outstanding performance." Kadri. Quote. Kadri. Suddenly, someone's eyes flashed golden light, and the breath suddenly became heavy. Gia. Someone started to let out a low laugh, and a group of people surrounded Shajir-Ching. "I'm so sorry, I can't refuse the temptation of the Straw Hat Pirates, so I can only aggrieve you." Someone carrying a big knife, with a look of greed, slashed down with the slash in the knife. Some people even aimed directly at his arm and thigh, and they were about to shoot. What is the lesson? Pirates have their own understanding. But their unified understanding is that the harder the lesson, the more face, and the higher the status in the future. Therefore, these pirates will not show mercy. "Xiao Yinger is so cute, how can you hit me? I really don't have any kindness, it's not cute." In the face of this battle, Shajir-Ching not only did not have the slightest fear, but also showed contempt. All the pirates couldn't help but stun for a moment, and then they saw Shajir-Ching's body burst out with shining thunder, which was breathtaking. Without giving everyone a chance to react at all, this thunder and lightning suddenly made a big splash and spread to all the pirates. Everyone's movements stopped instantly, and then, all the weapons fell from their hands weakly, and fell into a scream. Ah! The big guy in the straw hat felt like he was about to be roasted and torn apart. It was extremely painful. He knew that he had kicked the iron plate. There are not many people in this world who can release lightning. Basically all those people from the Summer Chamber of Commerce. He's a little cold in his heart. Provoking the Summer Chamber of Commerce, he can't bear the consequences. The screams continued throughout the restaurant, and finally, they disappeared into nothingness. Shamuyang hugged Shajir-Ching and came to the big man in the straw hat. At this moment, his body was scorched black, and he was dying. Why, the dignified 400 million pirates are at this level. The pirates present were all shocked and looked at Shajir-Ching in awe. The straw hat Luffy with the 400 million bounty is so vulnerable. How strong is Shajir-Ching? Run! At this time, there was a sudden commotion outside the door. The panic sound of a group of pirates sounded, making the pirates in the restaurant suddenly feel that something was wrong. Bang! The door of the restaurant was kicked open. A man with a huge axe and a Marine Rear Admiral rank walked in. Behind him, a group of Navy soldiers are lined up, all kinds of weapons are fully equipped. The specifications are quite high. It's nothing to do with the weight. Hurry up. Boss, I have requisitioned your tavern. I'll ask Marine for reimbursement for the related expenses later. You leave quickly, so as not to be accidentally injured. The person who came first looked at the boss and the waiter and told him to leave. The boss immediately took the employees away as if he had seen the savior. This world is so messed up. It turned out to be Zantaomaru. Hey, why did he suddenly come here? The rest of the pirates looked at Zantaowen with numb scalps, and their hearts were all despairing. This one is more powerful than ordinary people. Not at a level they can handle. In order to deal with the big pirate with a bounty of 400 million, it should be dispatched on this scale. Some pirates looked uncertainly at the big man in the straw hat who fell to the ground and exuded the smell of burnt stench, holding the last bit of luck in his heart. With Luffy in the straw hat, they know don't panic. It's just, don't panic, they are not sure in their hearts. Come on, we have to leave too. It's too dangerous here. Seeing this, Shajir-Ching, who had his back to Zantaomaru, also planned to turn around and leave. But Zantaomaru turned away in an instant and said, "Why do you have to leave? Why don't you just be a witness?" On Shajir-Ching's changed appearance, Zantaomaru smelled a dangerous breath. "Lord Rear Admiral, this is not good. I am a serious innocent citizen. What should I do if it is affected? Look at how cute my daughter is, let me be accommodating. Shajur pretended to be very embarrassed. PX1, look who this guy is. But Zon Taomaru was unmoved, and directly called the pacifists in. Bang! Immediately, the door of the tavern was demolished, and a fighting robot with the appearance of a tyrant bear walked in with indifferent eyes. Then, it concentrated on Shajur. His eyes flashed and lit up, beeping. A voice sounds, inquiring. Then, within 5 seconds, no such person, disarm. Hearing this answer, Zon Taomaru seemed a little surprised, how could there be no such person? But pacifists can't go wrong. Zon Taomaru looked a little puzzled when he looked at Shajur. This person who gave him a strong sense of danger was not offered a reward. It's kind of incredible. You can leave me now, Lord Rear Admiral. Shajur shrugged and said with a helpless smile on the corner of his mouth. He even changed his face, and if he can recognize it, there is a ghost. Please stay, I believe you have the ability to protect yourself. Then, his eyes turned to the man in the straw hat who fell to the ground, and his expression suddenly became indifferent. I heard that Straw Hat Luffy is openly recruiting partners. Are you all planning to join the Straw Hat Pirates? He glanced at everyone, and then saw the big man in straw hat lying on the ground like a dead fish, with a playful corner of his mouth. But, you idiots have been deceived. Do you think this man will be the big pirate with a bounty of 400 million, Straw Hat Luffy? Do you think he has the courage and luck to break into the top battle? Zon Taomaru brutally shattered the fragile luck in the hearts of all the pirates present. I played against him at Sabayati Archipelago, although he was not my opponent, but... He snorted contemptuously, glanced at the Straw Hat Man again, and said contemptuously, I have never seen such a weak Straw Hat Luffy. Chapter 827 Despair, Scumbags. PX1, who the hell is this guy? He gave an order to the pacifist beside him, and the latter's eyes lit up immediately, locking on the Straw Hat Man. DDD gave the answer within 2 seconds. Bounty 26 million Bailey, King of Lies, Damar Brack. Hearing this answer, all the pirates present were immediately stunned. Immediately, someone yelled, Bastard, we were actually deceived by this guy with a bounty of 26 million Bailey. This is a lean, cold, green-haired man whose identity is given by the pacifist. 35 million bounty for Bailey, green-haired Vegeta. Damn, I can't escape now. A middle-aged and elderly person lying on the ground looked angry and powerless. PX1 said indifferently, the bounty is 38 million Bailey, Monet, the warrior of the horse-riding regiment. Zon Taomaru sneered, it's unfortunate to tell you idiots that you've all been arrested. Damn, I won't sit still, brothers, kill. But in the face of the fear of being caught and imprisoned in impelled down and enduring endless torture, the pirates' desire to survive was fully aroused. They are not going to catch up. They all rushed over like a mad pack, like a ferocious pack of wolves, to shred Zon Daowan. HMPH, then you guys try it out. Zon Taomaru snorted in disdain, and then exited the restaurant. All attacks. As soon as he exited the restaurant, he issued an attack order to the team outside. Bombardment. Shoot. Vanguard, rush. The artillery team, the firing team, and the commander team of melee maneuvers immediately issued orders. The artillery team and the firing team formed horns, and the vanguard team formed its own team, split into 2 groups, and the battle began. Boom bang bang. Da da da. In an instant, the entire restaurant was turned into a world of bullets. And the vanguard has also rushed to the other pirates. PX1 also joined the battle immediately. Another PX5 also attacked from the other side. Ah. No. PFF'd. These teams led by Zon Taomaru are simply a devastating blow to these pirates whose bounty is only 50 million. These people have no chance of winning. Catch the loophole. Veget, the green-haired ghost with a bounty of 35 million Bailey, suddenly grinned. In front of him, a Captain Marine looked at him in horror, but the gap was wide open, full of flaws. Seeing that he was about to be killed by Vegeta, a blazing light suddenly struck, knocking him out with absolutely overwhelming power. It's PX one-shot. The bounty is 35 million Bailey, the green-haired monster Veget, the processing is successful. When he said this, a brazen voice came from behind him, suffer to death. It turned out to be a cavalry soldier with a bounty of 38 million Bailey, Monet. He wielded a broadsword and bombarded PX1's neck. Bang! But PX1 didn't dodge, and resisted the blow, but Monet's great sword broke. Then, PX1 slammed a palm on Monet, whose smile was frozen, and a laser shot out of his palm, penetrating his chest. With a scream, Monet was successfully captured. No. How can it be so strong? Just kidding, there is a bounty of 38 million Bailey to kill in one hit. A group of pirates boiled directly, completely desperate. The enemy is too strong. In just 5 minutes, a fierce and short battle was over. It's really amazing, as expected of Marine's powerful combat power, the efficiency is amazing. Shajir appeared in front of Zantaomaru as if it came out of the mud but not stained, and said with a smile. Who the hell are you? Zantaomaru looked at Shajir with a very bad tone. You still don't know, it's good for you and me, goodbye, Lord Rear Admiral, maybe we'll meet again. Shajir left with Shajir in his arms. Zantaomaru's eyes flickered violently a few times, but in the end, Shajir still did not have a team to attack. Daddy, these people have been arrested, are we still having fun? Shajir looked at Shajir and said a little disappointed. Shajir replied confidently. Don't worry, the liveliness on this island has just begun, and the bell of the times is about to ring. No, we had a good fight ahead of us. Hearing this, Shajir was immediately happy, and she went to see it quickly. Let's go, Daddy, it's not good to delay the fun. Shajir shook his head helplessly, and disappeared in a swish. Somewhere on the edge of a shop. At this moment, there are two people facing each other. I didn't expect that I was so lucky to meet such a big fish here. A certain young man wearing a captain's coat and a red turkey head looked at the two leisurely young men in front of him, and in his eyes, there was a flame that could not be concealed. Who else can this look beside the marine genius Gurrent? And the two young people in front of him are older than him. The one on the left wears an orange-red hat with a crying and laughing expression on it, and has fiery red hair. He had some freckles on his face, a rosary around his neck, and a musket in his waist. The one on the right, an elegant suit, also wears a hat, black, with a string of goggles on it. Blonde, wearing black gloves, holding a water hose in his hand. Captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Fire Fist Ace. Second Commander of the Revolutionary Army, Sabo the Dragon. Gurrent said in a deep voice. No matter how powerful you were in the past, your good days are now over. Meeting me is the biggest misfortune in your life. Yes, the two people in front of him are Ace and Sabo. The purpose of their coming is very simple, to escort their worry-free younger brother and go out to sea safely. Then try to see if you can stop us. Ace and Sabo looked at each other. I am so sorry, we can't stop here, we have a reason to leave. Gurrent contempt for Isho, his eyes were very cold. Hey, you are dreaming, today, I will personally lock you in Impel Down. As soon as the words fell, he rushed over with a running shave, and then slammed out with a mad punch, wrapped in thick hockey. Up. Swordsman Zeppa and Rokushiki genius Burnham also attacked from left and right, not intending to give Ace any room to resist. Fire Fist. Dragon Claw Hand. Sabo also shot at the same time, and they went away. Sabo takes on Burnham and Ace takes on Grant. Not far from them, Shajir appeared holding Shajir. Chapter 828 A Good Show. Hey, isn't that Uncle Ace? He's actually here too. Does the good show Daddy said have anything to do with them? Shajir saw Ace at a glance and said in surprise. Yeah, look at what is called the second angry youth. Ching Isho, don't explain too much. PFF'd. Bang. Sabo and Burnham are two completely one-sided battles. But with 5 moves, they were defeated. Just this little strength. I thought you were going to arrest me. I'm really strong. Sabo's face was disappointing, quite contemptuous. Damn, don't be too arrogant, I will definitely arrest you all today. Seeing this, Gurrent couldn't help shouting, very angry. Where did he get this kind of anger and wanted to fight back? However, the reality is that he can only struggle in embarrassment under the attack of Ace, and only has the strength to fight back. Where did the little brother have the courage to say that he was able to arrest Uncle Ace? His brain doesn't seem to be very smart. Looking at this scene, Shajarian couldn't help but complain. He still wants to arrest your father and me, the goal is too ambitious. Ching said jokingly. Hearing these words, Shajarian didn't have a good impression of Grant. To catch her father, just rely on Grant. Shajarian looked at Gurrent with great suspicion, and strongly questioned whether he had this ability. Ace is there. What's the matter, when you say you want to arrest me, is it really only that much? Ace easily responded to Grant and laughed out loud. Under his flame attack, Gurrent was completely powerless to fight back. Bastard Fire Fist, don't be too arrogant to me. Hearing this, Gurrent was furious. He stepped back suddenly, his eyes were like wild beasts, and his voice suddenly became hoarse. Since you must seek death, then I will fulfill you. After speaking, he listened to him and shouted, the devil's right arm. The next moment, he heard a stab, and his right arm swelled and exploded, revealing the right arm wrapped in red hair. Moreover, it continues to grow bigger, exuding a very dangerous atmosphere. HMPH, Fire Fist Ace is dead. The demon's right arm, he must not be able to stop it. Even Vice Marshal Kuzan has a headache for the power of the demon's right arm. Sabo of the Dragon, let Fire Fist Ace capture him quickly. If he continues to fight, he will definitely be killed. In this state, Grant has no sense. Seeing this, Burnham and Zeppa on the side were immediately excited and reminded Sabo. Sabo couldn't help Isho. Don't underestimate people, you too. Sabo glanced at Gurrent, and saw that he was like a beast. His eyes were red, he couldn't help shaking his head in a funny way. Frog at the bottom of the well, it's better to have more knowledge. Fire Fist Ace, you brought it on yourself, die. Holding the demon's right arm, Gurrent's speed and strength suddenly became much stronger. He shouted again, even as if he had won. Interesting, Fire Fist. Ace showed the appearance of seeing the treasure, and an extremely condensed Fire Fist collided with each other. Bang! The fists of the two collided together, and suddenly, a hurricane like a hurricane was set off, raging and rampant. Break me! Gurrent was restless like a beast, roaring on the road, his breath was extremely violent, but... The very embarrassing thing is that Ace didn't move, but Gurrent was forced to take a few steps back because of his instability. Is that all I can do? I haven't tried my best yet. Ace swooped close, wrapped armament, fist, and blasted down. Gurrent was shocked, and before he could react, he waved his hand to resist. PFF'd. It was like being hit by a high-speed sea train. This heavy and condensed power made Gurrent feel that his internal organs were about to explode, his bones were broken a little, and a mouthful of blood flew out. This is a little too fragile, I haven't used any strength yet. Please, come to the door and have some strength anyway. Ace couldn't help complaining, looking like a disappointment. But both Burnham and Zeppa looked in disbelief. What did they see? Grant, who used the demon's right arm, was still easily crushed by Fire Fist Ace. How can it be so powerful? Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. Fire Fist Ace is really powerful and terrifying. Hey, how much misunderstanding do you have about Fire Fist Ace? Is he an enemy you can deal with? Don't retire quickly, you have to give me a degree of nonsense. At this time, Zon Taomaru's voice came, full of dissatisfaction and reprimanded. He said solemnly. Fire Fist Ace, that is a big pirate who can compete with Admiral. Don't think his 2nd Division captain is in vain. Don't say it's you. Even Momonga, Onagumo Vice Admiral dare not say that they can arrest them. Isn't it normal to beat Gurrent? After hearing this, Burnham and the two were in a cold sweat. Zantaomaru took another look at Sabo and thought, a Fire Fist Ace is enough trouble, even if I add PX1, PX5, it is impossible to stop him for long. With a Sabo who can play against Mr. Isho, how does one get away with it? This is not inferior to the existence of Fire Fist Ace. In the 6 Emperor Pirates, it is also the existence of the 3 disasters, the existence of the star. Zantaomaru is too aware of the danger level of the two in front of him. He is not an ignorant and angry youth like Gurrent who has just left the youth training camp for half a year and thinks he is invincible in the world. Following Kizaru's side, he knows too well the strength of these big pirates in the sea. Yo, Your Excellency Zantaomaru, long time no see. Since you're here, take this guy away, there's no point in continuing the fight. Ace also looked at Zantaomaru when he heard the sound, and said with a disappointed look on his face. There is no sense of accomplishment in fighting a young generation like Gurrent. That's the best way, you can go. Zantaomaru looked at Ace, extremely vigilant. Sabo, go, or it will be too late. The Ace team called Sabo, and the latter responded immediately, tidied up his clothes and left. Wait, they're here wouldn't be. Zantaomaru watched them leave, and a very bold idea suddenly popped into his head. Contact the Straw Hat Pirates who will gather on this island and set sail again. Thinking about the relationship between Ace and the Straw Hat Luffy again, a thought that made Zantaomaru couldn't help but came up completely irresistibly. Chapter 829 Bet on Absolute Justice. The two of them are not here to see Straw Hat Luffy off. After all, Fire Fist Ace is Straw Hat Luffy's older brother. That Sabo, according to Mr. Garp, is also the sworn brother of Straw Hat Luffy. Thinking of this, Zantaomaru couldn't help shedding a cold sweat on his forehead. Asshole, you want to leave halfway through the fight, stop dreaming. But Gurrent obviously doesn't intend to let his battle end like this. He took a heavy step and rushed towards Ace. Zantaomaru was immediately angry when he saw this. This guy must have a degree of nonsense. He slapped armament hockey out and smashed Grant into the ground. Then hold down his head and drink violently. You bastard, how long are you going to make a fool of yourself? Is Fire Fist Ace an enemy you can deal with? Damn. Hearing these words, Gurrent let out an unwilling drink, but he couldn't break free from Zantaomaru's suppression. Zantaomaru doesn't have any other ability, that is, the bottom is stable, and he is best at suppressing others. Close the team, the target is the Straw Hat Pirates. After all, Zantaomaru is one of the highest officials of the Sabayati archipelago. His order was the imperial decree, and all the seamen who were too hot-blooded did not dare to disobey, and the whole team waited for Zantaomaru to lead them out. However, Zantaomaru took out the phone and dialed, and said to the other side, Ansi Vice Admiral, Fire Fist Ace, the Revolutionary Army Sabo appeared in Sabayati Archipelago, this matter is beyond our scope of response. An LT, P and GT. Send troops to the headquarters immediately for help, and be sure to stop the Straw Hat Pirates from going to sea. This sea doesn't need so many powerful pirates, bet on absolute justice, and never let them disturb the peace that they finally got. A word, decided to have a degree, and the arrogance of Gurrent, formed a sharp contrast, more convincing. What is Marine? Zantaomaru is this. A messed up person like Gurrent, being Marine is simply embarrassing for Marine. Some sailors couldn't bear to watch it anymore. They are also soldiers brought out by Mr. Garp. Why didn't Gurrent learn Kobe to be cautious and modest? A group of Marines thought so in their hearts. In all fairness, it was Kobe who gave them a better feeling than the irascible and arrogant Grant. Gentle and humble, ability is not bad. Not far from them, Shajariang looked at the embarrassed Gurrent and couldn't help sighing. This kind of person is probably what Daddy often said, a model who has never experienced social beatings. He is so arrogant that people can't feel pity for him at all. Marine Headquarters. Era, the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, and the second leader of the Revolutionary Army appeared at the same time. Straw Hat Luffy really has two good brothers. Deputy Marshal Kuzan looked at Akainu with a headache, and couldn't help but speak out. What does it mean to have no peace together? Kuzan felt that Akainu took over as the marshal for the past 2 years. Fujitora, bring the forces of Buster Call and destroy the Straw Hat Pirates for me. Justice will never be destroyed. Akainu's solution was a simple and rude, direct. Team Straw Hat Luffy launched a Buster Call. Isn't it a little too exciting? So what, that Straw Hat Luffy is also Mr. Garp's grandson. Hearing this, Kuzan couldn't help but click his tongue and say. This, Akainu raised his head to reveal an incomparably cold face, and said with murderous intent, in front of justice, there is no family love. Hearing this, Kuzan has nothing to say. Oh, so many pirate ships, so many pirates. When Shajariang was taken by Shajarching to the recruitment site for the members of the Straw Hat Pirates, she immediately exclaimed with glowing eyes. In front of her, the inner 3 floors and the outer 3 floors are all pirates. At a glance, there are at least 1,000. The powerful pirates of Sabayati Archipelago are all here. Hee, there will be more beautiful ones later. Shajarching looked at this scene that was different from the original, and Vivi narrowed her eyes. He said this because he saw some familiar people. Like Luffy, who pretends not to attract Marine's attention. For example, the sniper Usopp, Blackfoot Sanji, who thought his captain was really recruiting his partner, came with a blank face. In addition, there are Ace and Sabo who have arrived in disguise. Hey, don't you mean recruiting partners? Where's Mr. Straw Hat Luffy? A tall man with some sexy thick lips, dressed as a standard pirate, holding a large serrated knife, frowned and said. This person is named Rip Sabus Duty, with a bounty of 88 million Bailey, from South Blue. Won't let our pigeons go, let's continue the commotion, the marine guys are coming. A man with a bandage and a ferocious face, holding a long knife with 10 fingers, said with some flickering eyes. He felt a trace of bad breath. This person's name is Seriously Injured Elbio, and the bounty is 92 million Bailey, which is quite powerful. Hey, it's all this time, and no one has appeared yet, so it's not really a lie. A little Jungtai carrying a big hammer and wearing suspenders, has already sent out a confusing language. True or false? Don't disturb the army, Beardy. There was a panicked sound all around, and more people began to shake. Don't look at this little Jungtai, looks small. In fact, he is already 20 years old this year, but he just ate the baby fruit by mistake, and he will never grow up in his life. Moreover, he is the one with a bounty of 175 million Bailey. He is one of the people with the highest bounty in the field. How can I be deceived? Senior Luffy will never lie. I believe that Senior Luffy will definitely appear. I saw a grass-green coxcomb head, wearing a nose ring, with a black wing-shaped half-ring tattoo on his chest, and a man with a face like a ghost, said this firmly. When it comes to Luffy, his face is full of admiration. Che, Bartolomeo, don't drag anyone if you don't leave. Beardy glanced at the coxcomb-headed man, snorted coldly, and left with his team. And Beardy's words also revealed the man's identity for everyone. Bartolomeo. Number 1 in the real-time ranking of the pirates who most want to disappear. Born in East Blue Logatown, the barrier fruit ability, the bounty is 150 million Bailey. A big fan of the Straw Hat Pirates. And Beardy's actions have also attracted many pirates to follow. That kind of ominous premonition is too strong. The two of Sabwa in the crowd looked at each other and smiled. I didn't expect that Luffy Kid would be quite popular, but the marine guys should be here soon. They just said these words, and they came true. Chapter 830 Spike, Pacifist. I'm very sorry to tell you, marine garbage, you are surrounded. Just as Beardy and the pirates had not left 50 meters away, a huge figure smashed to the ground and appeared in the middle of them. Suddenly interrupted the atmosphere of the scene. Who is it? This sudden change has scared a lot of pirates. They couldn't help but look, and in the dust, a strong figure appeared, carrying a big axe, with a grim face. It's Marine Rear Admiral versus Momomaru. As soon as the figure appeared, it was immediately recognized, and the pirates immediately rioted. No, the pacifists are here too. We are surrounded by Marine. Another pirate saw the Marine team approaching behind him and others, as well as the ruthless human weapon, the pacifist. Up! With the order of Zantaomaru, a chaotic battle began. Bastards, do you think you can stop me with this rubbish? Dudi became ruthless, wielding a serrated sword and quickly cleared a path. I'm not going to take it easy. Elbio licked his lips too, he didn't want to enter Impel down. Shish, shish. But just after the two of them finished speaking, a pacifist appeared behind them. The two of them shrank their pupils at the same time, and quickly pulled away to fight back, but... Crack! The weapons of the two were smashed to pieces, and then they were slapped into the ground. Bounty 88 million Bailey, Rip Sabis duty, solved. 92 million Bailey seriously injured Elbio, solve it. PX1 and PX5 spoke indifferently, then turned around and looked at the other pirates. The two big pirates with a bounty of nearly 100 million were easily solved like this. All the pirates who watched this scene couldn't help swallowing. The horror in my heart could not be concealed at all. This is too strong, how can this be fought? It's impossible to win. PFF'd. At this time, there was another sound of vomiting blood. The heavy hammer Bildy, who saw a bounty of 175 million Bailey, was slapped by Zantaomaru and spit blood and flew wildly. Do you want to be so strong? We're done. There is no hope. A group of pirates directly feel a little heartless, this feeling of despair makes people breathless. HMPH, it's just a pirate with a bounty of 175,000 Baileys. The Straw Hat Luffy, who was rewarded with a bounty of 300 million back then, didn't vomit blood when I slapped it with the palm of my hand. See garbage, don't underestimate our Marine. NLT, P and GT. Not all of you have the strength of Shajirching with blood pupils, and feel that our Marine is vulnerable. The words of Zantaomaru undoubtedly made the pirates who were already desperate enough suddenly feel even more desperate. Luffy, who has a bounty of 300 million, is not his opponent, so they are not finished. In the entire field, only Bartolomeo's pirate group was unscathed. Why? Because Bartolomeo's barrier defense is too strong. Not even a pacifist can kill him. And in the distance, listening to Zantaowen's words, Shajirian couldn't help but feel a little curious. Dad, you said such a thing. Shajirching couldn't help blushing when she heard the words. This kind of old story was suddenly asked by her daughter, it was really hard to say. After all, who was not a teenager before, who was not a middle school sophomore? Although he still feels that Marine is weak. Didi, the bounty is 400 million Bailey, the Straw Hat Luffy, the test is complete. Didi, the bounty is 1.5 billion Bailey, Fire Fist Ace, the detection is complete. PX1 and PX5 made the originally desperate pirates feel like they heard it wrong. What did they hear? Straw Hat Luffy, Fire Fist Ace. Hey, are you really right? They want to ask. And Luffy, who was among the crowd, couldn't help but stun for a moment. He actually heard Ace's name. He couldn't help but glanced away immediately. Observation Haki was released, and then, his eyes suddenly lit up, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but rise. PX1, attack the Straw Hat. Hearing that the Straw Hat Luffy was among them, Zantaomaru immediately gave an order. As long as the Straw Hat Luffy is captured, it will be easy to deal with Fire Fist Ace. DDD. PX1 immediately launched an attack, and several energy cannons with powerful destructive power were aimed at the Straw Hat Luffy and lashed away. Bang! Luffy, PX1's location suddenly burst into a bright spark, but PX1 suddenly raised its head and released several scorching light cannons. Everyone looked at it and saw a figure that landed on a ruined city wall, easily dodging all the attacks. Too slow. The man looked at PX1 and said indifferently, there was a burst of fire behind him, and with his light-hearted words, how unrestrained. It's exactly the same as on the bounty order. A pirate grabbed Luffy's bounty and was incoherent with excitement. Straw Hat Luffy is here. So handsome. Shajariang looked at Luffy, her eyes were shining with stars, and her face was full of the expression of a little fangirl. Hey! The long-range attack, PX1 couldn't help it, and rushed directly to Luffy, intending to fight in close quarters. But at the moment PX1 set off, the Straw Hat Luffy had disappeared on the city wall. PX1 turned around immediately, but before he had time to attack, a heavy fist had already hit him in the face. Bang! PX1 was heavily smashed into the ground, and after smashing a large pit of more than 40 meters, electric sparks began to smoke, and it was scrapped. The surrounding pirates were stunned, their mouths wide open, and they lay down a few duck eggs. What is the level of a big pirate? This is it. One punch kills pacifists. This guy, what a strong hockey cultivation base. On the punch just now, Zon Taomaru felt a strong armament hockey. After defeating PX1, Luffy directly faced Ace's direction and tried his best to shout, Ace. Luffy, long time no see. In the eyes of everyone, Ace removed his disguise and waved to Luffy happily. Then, he hooked Sabo's neck next to him and said, Luffy, look, who is this? Luffy's pupils shrank when he saw Sabo. Then, he stretched out his hand and grabbed Sabo, and it flew over and stuck to Sabo. Tears came out. Yo gotta great, Sabo, I thought. Sabo is helpless Isho. Long time no see, Luffy. What a touching fraternity reunion. Senior Luffy. At the other end, Bartolomeo also looked at this scene with a face full of fans. On the other hand, Zon Taowen's expression suddenly became extremely solemn. He said in his heart, Mr. Isho, hurry up, otherwise, they will go to sea. Chapter 831 Meet again. So touching, woohoo. Looking at this scene, Shajariang couldn't help but feel a little empathy, lying in Shajirching's arms and crying. And Sanji Haitsu and the others were also surprised to see this scene. They didn't expect that their captain would have two such powerful brothers. In the marine lineup, Gurrent clenched his fists tightly, resisting not to rush up to shoot. After being tutored by Zon Taomaru, he is much more honest. It's amazing that Fire Fist Ace, captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, is here. As expected of the Straw Hat Luffy, he is indeed quite powerful. Fortunately, he did not become famous in his era. Beardy exclaimed with emotion. As for Sabo, not everyone knows him. In fact, the people who can recognize Sabo are all powerful people. Pirates like Billy may not even know about the Revolutionary Army. It's a chaotic scene. It seems that the old man came at a wrong time. At this moment, a heavy and majestic voice came, which inexplicably made everyone present feel a burst of scalp tingling and panic. I saw a middle-aged and elderly person with short hair, leaning on a blind cane, and came slowly. But these pirates at the scene couldn't help but fall into the ice cellar. Big Admiral Fujitora one smile. No, how is this possible? The pirates were completely panicked. Admiral Fujitora Isho comes, did they still have a way out? But is this the end? No, the despair has only just begun. I'm very sorry to tell you, you can't run away today. Behind Fujitora, another voice came, hoarse and sharp. Vice Admiral Onagumo. When someone saw the owner of this voice, they couldn't help exclaiming. Also, that's Vice Admiral Dalmesia. Someone else spoke up, and the tone was full of panic. Vice Admiral Doberman. Vice Admiral Bastiu. Vice Admiral Smoker. Seeing 5 Vice Admiral appear in a row, these pirates on the scene are going crazy. What a doomsday operation! In the face of this kind of enemy, did they still have any hope of escaping? All the pirates couldn't help but give their own answers in their hearts. Impossible. What a great guy. Luffy, you're so popular. Seeing Fujitora, Ace and Sabo looked at each other, and both saw solemnity in each other's eyes. The appearance of an admiral is a qualitative change. Moreover, there are 5 vice admiral to accompany, which is the specification of Buster Call. Even higher than Buster Call. Even Ace and the others dare not say that they can leave safely. Her admiral came so soon, how reliable. But the sailors have no such worries. They can only be excited now. Admiral is here, and it is impossible for all enemies to escape. It's troublesome. Luffy grabbed his head and said with a headache. The 3 brothers gathered together, and the first battle was so hardcore. Looks like there's a riot at Mau Mau. Sabo didn't care, but seemed eager to try. Evacuate the surrounding people immediately, and arrange personnel to do a good job of comforting people. Fujitora Isho said, first and foremost, the safety of the public gate. Mr. Admiral, shouldn't we arrest those people first? Immediately, there was a vague reminder from Rear Admiral, which meant that the Straw Hat Pirates would be wiped out first. Let's evacuate the people first. Why should we involve innocent people in our battle? Isho spoke again, his tone more firm and heavy. Yes. Then Rear Admiral responded and left with a team of Marines. Behind Fujitora, a Rear Admiral with a face like Shira, with a slender figure and a big sword on his back, looked at Fujitora respectfully. He said in his heart, this kind of justice is really good. His name is T-Pen, nicknamed, the Ship Slayer. He was originally the captain of the headquarters guarding the island of Justice, Faith. Later, in the War on Sea Fa Island, because of escorting Frankie, who helped Hades's blueprints, he fought with the swordsman Kira of the Straw Hat Pirates who came to rob people. Demotion. But he was lucky, in the world conscription, he was recruited into the headquarters with honors, and won the Commodore position. In the next 2 years, he was promoted to Rear Admiral with outstanding military exploits. Because I revere Fujitora's style, I have been fighting by Fujitora's side. Then, it's time to start our battle. I'm sorry, Straw Hat Pirates, we can't let you go out into the new world. Isho drew the knife from the blind stick, and his expression suddenly became extremely serious. Although you, as a pirate, have never done evil, and often punish evil and promote good, but in today's era, you can't be disturbed, sorry, Straw Hat Boy. Now the situation is not the Dressrosa in the original. There was no Doflamingo to oppress the people, and Luffy appeared as the savior, so Fujitora let Luffy and his party go like a water. Now, the sea has gradually calmed down, but Luffy's sailing, like a stone thrown into calm water, will disrupt the calm situation. So, Fujitora must stop Luffy and the others from going out to sea and into the new world. Hey, how can we stop people's dreams? Fujitora Isho, can you stop us? Use your strength to prove it. Ace grinned Isho, his eyes full of fighting intent. One Piece King of Pirates, I'm sure, Uncle, if you want to stop me, then I can only do it to you. Luffy pulled the straw hat and said solemnly. It's been a long time to fight side by side. Sabo is ready to fight like a water pipe in his hand. Pung, Zantaomaru, you led 1,000 troops, and the rest of the pirates will be handed over to you. Please be sure to intercept them. Fujitora ordered the ship cutter Pen and Zantaomaru behind him. The two responded, and Pen led 1,000 troops to surround the already panicked pirates on the inner 3 floors and the outer 3 floors. Then, the rest of you, come with me. Fujitora stepped forward. Behind him, there were 5 vice admiral from the headquarters and 4,000 marine elites. This kind of combat power, although not the full Buster Call, 5 vice admiral, 10 warships, 10,000 people scale, but with the participation of Admiral Fujitora, the scale is actually higher. How can you besiege our captain? Sanji Kurozu's words came from a group of pirates. Hey, we will never fight alone, this is our tacit understanding. Usopp pushed the goggles in a big change, and he was no longer the one who flinched when something happened. Men, you should pursue the super dream. Frankie is also stronger and better looking. Pen, and the guy with the axe, meet again. Kira is a brown-haired young man with a long scar on his chest, and his weapon is a round gauntlet knight's greatsword. Starlight Random Dingwen, knife name, Xing Lan, one of the 50 good and fast knives. Chapter 832 3 days away. How could this scene be without me? It's really nerve-wracking, even though I have no heart. Yo-ho-ho. The King of Souls, Brook, also came from outside the marine surrounded by gorgeous clothes. Brook, Sanji, Frankie, Kira, Yogata, you're all here. Seeing his buddies, Luffy laughed immediately, quite happy. And me, Luffy, you forgot too. Among the pirates, a woman with blue hair came out, radiant. Karina, you're here too, it's great. Seeing this woman, Luffy showed a happier smile again. Karina, the navigator on his ship. Speaking of which, it's still Nami's colleague. Some troublesome people have come, but it doesn't affect the plan. Fujitora said this, but her eyes kept looking at the three of Luffy. Then, let's get started. When Fujitora finished speaking, he pressed down with a knife, and suddenly, bursts of purple light spread out. And then, boom bang bang. A gigantic unimaginable gravity fell on the three Luffy brothers. Straw Hat, your day is here. The most exciting person to meet Luffy is Smoker. You tough guy, why are you here again? Luffy got a headache when he saw Smoker. But Smoker was stopped. Bang! It was Sanji Kurozu. He looked at Smoker. There's no chance that you will come up to the king. That's not necessarily true, Sanji Kurozu. Bastiu drew his sword angrily, and he rushed out with a sword wave, approaching Sanji Kurozu. But Sanji didn't panic at all. Because, if you succeed like this, then I'm going to be laughed to death. Kira slashed the sword wave like a ghost, and then, like a rocket, rushed forward and slammed into Bastio's sword. You have to savor the growth of these 2 years. You were defeated a year ago, but not now. Kira was in Sabayati Archipelago 2 years ago. After his captain Luffy beat Tenryubito, Basti was one of the vice admiral who came to suppress the rebellion. He's probably squatting at Impel Down right now. Today, it's time for him to prove himself. HMPH, then let me tell you, you are still just a weak swordsman. Bastiu said contemptuously. Then let's see the real chapter under the hand. Kira grinned Isho, looking quite confident. What a heavy force. Ace's eyes suddenly became extremely sharp, and his body became aflame. Elementalization, gravity does not exist. Fire fist. Ace threw out this punch. There wasn't a gorgeous scene, and the flaming fist wasn't too big. But it was condensed and extremely fast, and it broke through the air to the front of Fujitora and the others. Bang! Fujitora raised his sword and wrapped the super gravity to fight away. Fire fist Ace, don't be too arrogant. When Onagumo saw this, he came robbery. Fujitora is not opposed to this style of warfare. If the opponent is the captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, there is no shame. A dignified marine admiral, to besiege a young man with a vice admiral, what a suffocating operation. Sabo appeared and stopped Onagumo. His face was full of sarcasm. HMPH, why do you need to be reasonable when dealing with you trash on the sea? Hearing this, Onagumo snorted coldly, a cold look on his face. It's really in line with your marine's usual style. Hearing this, Sabo's face became even more sarcastic. Straw Hat Boy, you don't have the strength of your 2 older brothers, just capture it, this battle is over. Doberman rushed straight to the front of the Straw Hat Luffy with a shaved, and stabbed with a fierce sword. In his memory, the Straw Hat Luffy was just the stubborn boy who once went to war. He never felt that Straw Hat Luffy would be his match. But such an idea was doomed to surprise him. No opponent should be underestimated, especially the son of this plane, the protagonist of the original book, even more so. Ching, who was holding Reading not far away, said, "If you look closely, you will find that there is still a little anticipation on the corner of his mouth. Ching, after 3 days, you should be treated with admiration. Not to mention 2 years. Enter, second gear." Facing Doberman who appeared in front of him, Luffy seemed quite calm. Entering the second gear, armament hockey covered it, and under Doberman's shocked eyes, he threw a heavy punch and collided with him heavily. Bang! After a pure sound of gold and iron exploded, Doberman was shaken back out. What a mighty force! Doberman looked at his right arm, VV's trembling, and the tiger's mouth was aching. When he looked at the Straw Hat Luffy, his eyes were extremely solemn. He knew that he had made the mistake of underestimating the enemy. He didn't expect that Luffy had become so strong after only 2 years of absence. "I won't run away when I meet an enemy like I did 2 years ago. After 2 years of cultivation, I have become 1,000,000 points stronger. I won't let you stop me anymore." In second gear, Luffy's basic stats will be increased. And that makes his speed quite impressive. Rubber bazooka. Luffy roared loudly, and there was an extremely fast attack, hitting the knife that Doberman subconsciously raised to defend. Bang! Another heavy sound of gold and iron exploded. Doberman's face changed again. Just now, he felt as if the force of the Wanjun exploded in his mountain of knives, forcing him back several meters, which shocked him a little. His brows and VV's furrowed together, and VV's breathing was a bit labored. He knew he still underestimated Luffy. It can't be taken lightly anymore. Hey! He suddenly pulled back and stepped back, and then, concentrating seriously, several sword waves flew out. Shish! But Luffy seemed to sense all this in advance, and easily avoided the attack sent to Jonbo. Then, rubber jet stamp. He swishes again and disappears in front of Doberman. Then, appearing above Doberman, a blast of air blasted, making Doberman's face change all of a sudden. Luffy was a little too powerful and unexpected. Observation hockey, and such a powerful armament hockey, the Straw Hat Boy has learned a lot in the past 2 years. Doberman looked at Luffy intently, raising the level of danger again in his mind. Chapter 833 Justice Cannot Be Profaned. Rubber Jet Machine Gun. Just when Doberman was thinking like this, Luffy quickly threw out his fist, turning into countless violent fists and charging towards Doberman. Doberman can't help but feel a little scalp tingling. Not daring to have any slack, hurriedly swung the sword into countless sword lights and fought away. The other side. Boom. The battle between Sabo and Onagumo is even more intense. The two clashed fiercely like two phantoms. Every blow is a thrilling enough existence. As expected of Onagumo Vice Admiral, the man who can capture the first team leader of the Whitebeard Pirates, Marco the Phoenix, is amazing. Sabo's words sounded like admiration, but in his tone of voice, it was a complete sarcasm. This made Onagumo's face extremely gloomy. So strong, is this a Vice Admiral level match? I'm really unwilling, I really want to participate. Gurrant watched with great fascination, wishing he was the one who was fighting Sabo there now. But in the face of Onagumo's powerful performance, he still succumbed. He was arrogant, and his eyes were always above the top, but this time he finally understood his position. Not to mention Fire Fist Ace, even the Straw Hat Luffy is not an enemy he can fight. The only enemies he can deal with are these tens of millions of pirates. Although he can deal with the pirates with a bounty of 300 million. But there are too many bosses at the scene. He is a captain-level petty officer, and he can't make a splash at all. Mr. Admiral, you must see these people stop you. Otherwise, the safety of the people will face a huge threat again. T-Pen looked at this scene and said in his heart. Then, he killed a bunch of pirates. T-Pen, follow in the footsteps of Admiral, Lord Vice Admiral. We must stop all these dangerous people here. Never let them go out to sea and endanger the safety of the people. Passionate and determined. Yes. A group of Marine soldiers are naturally high morale. T-Pen is so brave in front of them. Moreover, their Marines seem to occupy the best situation. Almost all of them felt in their hearts that they would win this battle. This is Rear Admiral from T-Pen. It's not bad, it's a good material. Dalmesia was quite satisfied to see T-Pen, who fought bravely and boosted his morale from time to time. He secretly remembered what T-Pain looked like. Little ones, we can't admit defeat either. PX1, PX5, and Grant, cut off all the pirates on your side. Never let them endanger the sea. Zon Taumaru will naturally not fall behind. He will not refuse anything that is good for Marine's morale. As a result, the situation at the scene was almost one-sided towards Marine. Of course, that's for sure. Because Marine has an absolute numerical advantage. Damn, there is no hope at all. Bastard, why did this kind of thing happen to me? Ah, I don't want to end my trip here. The mentality of the pirates is about to collapse. What is this called? Straw Hat Luffy goes to sea, why should they be implicated? Shenhuo Shiranui. Ace and Fujitora, the battle between the two is not the most intense, but it is quite intense. Bang! Fujitora blocked the blow, and immediately, when Ace rushed over, he slashed out, Gravity Knife Tiger. Suddenly, a shocking horizontal gravity raged out, distorting the space. Ace couldn't help but change his face. The power of this blow made him feel a sense of shock. Boom! In front of this gravitational sword wave, absolutely invincible, everything was destroyed. Even the elemental Ace was pulled into the distance by the gravitational fluctuations, unable to control his body. How could Fujitora let go of such an opportunity? She has already approached, and shot out with a cold light, exuding a strong Haki aura. Even if it is elementalization, Haki can also restrain it. Bah! Ace couldn't help but change his face, and saw that his body was cut off in the middle. Didn't it work? Fujitora said this suddenly and stepped back, as expected of Fire Fist Ace. The torn body of Ace that I saw turned into flames and healed again. Just now, he overcame the obstacles caused by the distortion of space, followed the trajectory of Fujitora's knife, predicted the route in advance, and avoided the knife. Fire Fist. Ace's lower body turned into flames and rushed towards Fujitora, another punch of flames. It's really a bit difficult to deal with. In the end it is the pirates who are also standing at the top of the new world. Fujitora waved a gravitational wave and blocked it in front of Fire Fist, frowning Vivi. Other places. Boo! The battle between Bastiu and Kira was quite fierce, with sparks flying everywhere, and the two swordsmen started a crazy duel. What's the matter, Bastius Vice Admiral? How did this sword become so weak? How fierce it was in the beginning. Kira wielded the great sword, as if lifting weight lightly, and slammed into Bastio's sword, forcing him to keep retreating. Damn, stop being arrogant. Facing Kira's provocation, Bastiu was quite angry. Then, Jiliang found the flaw, and the situation suddenly became more difficult. Damn, how can it be so strong? Bastiu said with some difficulty in his heart. This Jiliang has only been missing for 2 years, how can he become so powerful? The Devil's Foot. The battle between Sanji and Smoker is also quite exciting. After 2 years of training, Smoker has become very strong now, especially after Haki. Bang! The 10 hands in his hand, and Sanji's leg attack, burst into moving waves, and the air twisted around them. They both want to help each other, but they can't help each other. Luffy gang otherwise. Frankie Iron Fist. Steel Pirate Frankie punched a kid. In the Marine team, he fought very vigorously, and his record was quite impressive. Asshole, stop being arrogant. A Rear Admiral rushes in, wraps Haki with a punch and slams it. The power is terrifying. Frankie Iron Shield. But Frankie didn't panic at all. His left arm made a blocking gesture, and then, it was deformed and turned into a shield. Bang! Rear Admiral's punch didn't cause any damage to Frankie at all, and he couldn't help but be extremely surprised. How is it possible? Taste this, Uncle's fist. With a heavy blow of the steel fist, it burst out of the air. Rear Admiral hurriedly shouted, "Iron!" Chapter 834, The ability to shake the sea. But, Rear Admiral's face turned from red to white, and then he spit out a mouthful of blood. "It's all right, Lord Rear Admiral. How can this fight? It's too strong." Immediately, it caused a tingling in the surrounding Marine's scalp. "Yohu, please don't be distracted while fighting." At this time, Brooke's undead-like voice came from their ears again. What he saw, he drew his sword and stood up. "No song san ding swallowtail slash." You. Just when a group of Marines hadn't reacted to what was going on. A thorough chill wrapped their consciousness and made them lose their minds. In an instant, a large number of Marines fell. Gollum. This made the surrounding Marines panic a little. What's the situation with Brooke? Why even a skeleton can move? Death. Explosive star. At this moment, even Usopp, who used to be able to snipe from a distance, can fight head-on. The only one who needs protection may be Karina. Stop being arrogant, bastard. Seeing Frankie's majesty, Gurren finally couldn't help it, and came straight to Frankie. Bang! Frankie naturally sensed Gurren, and he unceremoniously outputted his full power, and punched Gurren with a punch. Boom! As soon as the expert makes a move, you will know if there is any. Frankie was shocked by the dang dang dang, and he stepped back several steps. Seeing this, Gurren approached again, and once again punched out violently. It's interesting, Frankie's super left arm. Faced with the approaching Gurren again, Frankie also became serious, opened his left arm, and there was a circle of Gatling-like muzzles, and then... Da da da. In front of Gurren, he was instantly covered with bullets. He never learned hockey, Marine Rokushiki. Ask why, because he doesn't like it. PFF'd. Bah. But this time, in the face of Frankie's bullet, Gurren knew how stupid it was not to learn hockey. Frankie's super right punch. Seeing that Gurren hadn't even dodged all his own bullets, Frankie naturally chose to pursue the victory, and blasted his right fist into Gurren's chest. PFF'd. Without using the demon's right arm, Grant can only deal with tens of millions of pirates. Like Frankie, he still can't handle it. Asshole. Seeing that Gurren was injured, Zeppa and Burnham were excited and attacked Frankie. Two idiots, you are no match for him. Seeing this scene, Zantaomaru jumped angrily, and quickly ordered PX5 beside him, go and help them. PX5 glanced at Frankie. Steel Pirate Frankie, the bounty is 87 million Bailey. Then, it turned into a rocket launcher and rushed towards Frankie. If it were 2 years ago, Frankie would have turned around and ran away when he saw a pacifist, but now... Something troublesome, run. Without the Iron General robot, Frankie is still no match for the pacifists. Only Luffy can kill in one hit. It's really intense. Looking at the battle below, Shajirching said with an increasingly interesting smile on the corner of his mouth. Hit him, be good, it's great, it's wonderful. Shajirching pointed at this, and pointed at that, anyway, I think everyone's battle is wonderful. Aren't you going to participate? After all, it's the master who has taught Luffy for more than half a year. Does it really make sense for him to sail without your master? Shajirching looked beside him again, the old man who was sitting drinking and watching a play. Rayleigh, the king of Pluto, said. Hee hee, you're not watching the show, you won't tell me, you're just here to watch the show. When Rayleigh heard this, he looked at Shajirching with a smile, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. If I say, I really just came to the show, how many people do you think will believe me? Shaji looked at Shajirching, who was waving her little hands with great excitement in her arms, so she could relax. At least I don't believe it. Rayleigh Isho then looked elsewhere. Luffy's partners have come to support a lot too. This kid has also begun to have the ability to shake the ocean. After all, he is the man who wants to become One Piece King of Pirates. If he has no ability at all, who will admit him? Shajurching Isho again. Below. Dragon Claw Hand. Sabo smashed Anagumo's sword with one claw, causing his pupils to shrink. This Sabo is a bit too tyrannical. Although his knife is only a quick knife, he crushes the blade with his bare hands, which is really scary. He's wrapped in armament hockey. If it's useful to stand back, what do you want the strong to do? Anagumo appeared. He saw Sabo's smiling face constantly magnifying in his eyes. Dragon Claw Intercept. A dragon chant suddenly exploded in Anagumo's ears, causing him to be in a trance. But in the face of the imminent danger, he still played a super Vice Admiral level. The hair behind him condensed into a ball, return of life spider web. A hairnet stood in front of Sabo's claws, with super elasticity. Although Anagumo was still knocked into the air, it took away a lot of power. Lord Vice Admiral. But this scene was a huge blow to Marine's morale. This surprised the rest of the Vice Admiral who were fighting. As expected of the second head of the Revolutionary Army, there are indeed two brushes. Seeing this, Doberman thought in his heart. Then, he looked at his opponent, Straw Hat Luffy, and said proudly in his heart, "But this old man will never lose to you." But. Just 3 minutes. Third gear, rubber elephant guns. Facing the attack of this violent chain of fists with strength comparable to the giants, Doberman admits that he still underestimates Luffy too much. That face is so slapped. Really fragrant warning, do not deceive me. Doberman Vice Admiral. This made the surrounding Marines stunned. This is already the second Vice Admiral. Are the pirates now so powerful? Can they really stop these people? Has the Straw Hat Luffy become so strong too? Seeing Doberman being kicked out, Smoker couldn't help being a little surprised. Is this really still the Straw Hat Boy who was easily restrained by him during the war on the top? Not bad, the strength has become more condensed, and the coordination of the whole body has become stronger. It seems that after I left, you have practiced him a lot. Rayleigh looked at Luffy who shot Doberman indifferently, showing a satisfied look. When I'm bored, I just ask him to discuss about life. This is what Ace asked me to do. If I don't do it, I can't explain it to Ace. Shajurching said with a calm expression, but Rayleigh said in his heart, this kind of opportunity, maybe 90% of the people in the sea want it. Chapter 835 Two-Color Conqueror Hockey. Rubber Whip. Without Doberman blocking the way, Luffy quickly broke through Marine's defense line. One Piece King of Pirates, I'm sure, I won't let you stop me from going to sea. A large number of sailors stretched their arms, and Luffy's thighs were swept away. But even so, there are still too many Marines on the scene. Straw Hat Boy, you are dreaming, we have more than 5,000 people, don't try to break through. Zantaomaru shouted loudly when he heard the words, and swung his axe and slashed over. You are so annoying. Luffy gave a very unhappy shout, disappeared in front of Zantaomaru, and instantly entered second gear, rubber jet rocket launcher. A jet-like phantom punch came with heavy force. Zantaomaru couldn't help but feel a little nervous, and when he stomped his horse, he slammed into each other and walked away. Boom. But this time, Zantaomaru did not have the upper hand. Luffy's attack, wrapped around Haki, went straight through his attack and slammed into his chest. Zantaomaru was suddenly shaken and retreated a considerable distance, but it seemed that he had never been seriously injured. Since you have a large number of people, then use this trick. Someone's devilish murmur sounded in Luffy's ears again. Conqueror Haki, in addition to having physical attack effects, the bigger role is to remove unnecessary personnel and save energy. Although it looks tasteless and has no effect on the strong, but in fact, in real combat, the effect is great. The most fearful thing in combat is not how strong the attack is, but how to use physical strength reasonably. And Conqueror has a very good effect in this regard. Thinking of this, Luffy stared at him, and the coercion of the king instantly covered the entire battlefield. The air was trembling, and many sailors and pirates felt their heads sink, and their consciousness began to blur. Then, Top Heavy passed out and passed out. It was just an instant, and there were only 300 or 400 people standing at the scene. Ha ha ha, Conqueror, then I'll come too. Ace, who was fighting against Fujitora, also stared at him suddenly. In an instant, a completely different domineering aura descended once again, and there was originally a piece of support that barely fell. All right, it's all down. At this point, there are only over 100 people who can still stand. But there is no doubt that these people are all strong. T-Pen, the three of Grant and his ilk, Zon Taomaru, Vice Admiral, Fujitora, and a whole bunch of captains. This is the bottom line of all those who stand. On the pirates' side, it was hardly affected, because Luffy, Ace controlled the power. People who don't want to attack will not be affected. Both brothers have Conqueror. Hey, that's two. Dalmesia couldn't help wiping the cold sweat off her head, she was frightened. Dangerous people, even more dangerous. Doberman's eyes instantly became extremely cold. Conqueror Haki, something that can only be possessed by a king's qualifications. And now, here are two. That guy, wouldn't there be? The crowd looked at Sabo and couldn't help but guess in their hearts. Luffy, Ace has it, Sabo doesn't make sense. I'm so sorry, I really didn't, because I didn't plan to be the king. Sabo lifted his hat and said with a smile. But what he said, it is difficult to get everyone's belief. But whether people believe it or not, there is one thing that cannot be changed. That is the marine side, the advantage is greatly reduced. Without the number of people, it is difficult to start a siege situation and intercept Luffy and the others. What a terrible situation. Fujitora sighed like this, and then shook Ace out again. Fujitora said, the long-range siege of the Straw Hat Pirates at sea, intercept them. Although they lost 5,000 troops, they still had 5,000 troops on the warships. It is also a great help for them to control warships and intercept them at sea. Luffy, it seems that the resistance you want to go to sea is really not small. Seeing this scene, Ace's eyes became a lot more solemn. I will never let you trapped. I will definitely be able to go to sea. Luffy drank loudly, his voice full of urgency and confidence. Yes, Straw Hat brother, it will definitely succeed. At this moment, a strange voice came over, neither male nor female, charming but full of awkward masculinity. Sanji, who was fighting with Smoker, suddenly shivered for no reason, and his face suddenly became very bad. Hey, it's not really them. Inexplicably, he thought of the Shemale Island he was on 2 years ago, and the Shemales he encountered there. This voice also attracted the attention of a group of Marines, and a group of women dressed up and dressed in heavy makeup appeared in front of them. One by one exudes a rather powerful breath. Sanji's hair exploded, and he took a deep breath. He felt that his calf was cramping. I can't let you embarrass our little Shangji, don't you think, Xiao Shangji? The leading ladyboy pretended to be charming. Ah, you damn bastard, don't let me be presumptuous. A marine captain rushed over angrily, but was defeated by 3 punches and 2 kicks. This made Dalmesia and others unable to help but stare. The enemy is very strong. Star-defying cross. At this time, a voice suddenly came from the sea. I saw a huge cold light flying over the warship, cutting the 3 warships into 2 pieces. A rather elegant young man stood in the air and looked at Ji Liang. The sea is so big. Why, it's not like your style, Ji Liang. You actually came. This really surprised me. Ji Liang looked at the elegant young man and showed a grateful smile. The elegant young man. Don't think I'm here to save you. I just happened to pass by to breathe. This warship is blocking my way. The face is full of expressions of no silver 300 taels here. This elegant young man is a friend of Ji Liang's 2 years of travel, and his swordsmanship is on par with him. Ho ha ho, brother Frankie, I'll bring your ship to you. On the sea, a lion-head hardcover pirate ship suddenly came, with 2 masked people on it. Sunny. Seeing the ship, Luffy suddenly made a surprise sound. But what's amazing is that the 2 masked men showed the state of the Sunny's force as if they knew the Sunny very well. Ow, you are here too. Seeing these 2 masked men, Frankie suddenly showed a happy look. For the past 2 years, Frankie has been following these 2 to learn knowledge on an island, and he is his teacher. Chapter 836 Go to Sea Successfully. Usopp, you're very brave, I'm relieved to see that you don't back down as always. A huge beetle flew over the crowd and said to Usopp. Hercules, you are here too. Seeing this beetle man, Usopp was suddenly surprised. Hercules gave Usopp a thumbs up. As a master, of course, you must ensure that your apprentice leaves safely. Let's set sail with confidence. These people who appear are all people that Luffy and these partners have known where they have stayed for the past 2 years. Either a friend, a teacher or a friend. Really handsome, as expected of the senior of the Straw Hat Pirates. Seeing this scene, Bartolomeo's eyes lit up. Hee hee, then it seems that the old man has to appear too. At this time, an old and majestic voice came. Fujitora frowned immediately. Here comes an extraordinary person. The Marines couldn't help looking, and then they saw a person who made their scalps numb. Former One Piece King of Pirates Deputy, Silba's Rayleigh. People like you, if you don't stay on this island, why do you want to participate in such a thing? Rayleigh, what the hell do you want to do? Seeing Rayleigh, Onagumo's face changed and he roared loudly. As a teacher, I naturally come to watch my students, and incidentally solve the problems of my students' sailing. Pluto raised the sword in his hand and appeared in front of the Marines in a flash, saying, I am sorry, everyone, please let me be your opponent next time. Quiet. The entire battlefield was quiet at first, and then it was extremely boiling. Would you like to be so terrifying? How can you fight like this? All the Marine officers were suspicious of life. Don't panic, Marine Corps, shoot down their ships. Since they took the initiative to show up, they must not miss such a good opportunity to make the Straw Hats a complete turtle in the urn. Onagumo immediately used the phone bug to communicate with the sailors on the warship and let them attack the Sunny. Boom. She. But just when they were about to start, a dark cloud suddenly floated over them, and then it started to rain crazily. Coincidentally, the rain was pouring down, but only the marine area had rain. It can really be said that there was some rain, which completely blocked Marine's attack route. Above the warship, there is a small sky island floating, and there are several old people who can't get old anymore. They drink coffee and say, Karina, I can do it, there is only so much. Ho ha ho. Ha ha ha, Luffy, God is helping you, what are you waiting for, let's go to sea. Seeing this scene, Ace couldn't help laughing out loud. Luffy, see you in the new world. Sabo collided heavily with Onagumo, and he was also full of smiles. Then it's agreed, see you in the new world. Luffy didn't hesitate, took a long breath, and said with a smile, everyone, it's sailing. Ow. When everyone responded, they broke through to the port. And the she-male troops, Rayleigh, Hercules, took over their opponents. Brother Straw Hat, we are here too. At this time, a group of flying fish suddenly flew in the sky, and a handsome and somewhat strange man came with a large group. Baloo, you are here too. Seeing this man, Luffy was very excited immediately. The kindness of Big Brother Sanji will never be forgotten. How can we watch Big Brother Sanji be trapped here? Brother Sanji, get in the car, I'll take you out. Although Baloo's strength is not strong, his flying fish troops have indeed helped a lot at this time. Thank you so much. Luffy was overjoyed, and then he looked at Bartolomeo and Beardy, thank you so much too. Bartolomeo was so excited that he was about to suffocate with excitement. It's really touching leadership. People who can get help from so many people, maybe can really change the world. Fujitora is blind and not blind. People who do evil things will not have such popularity. Damn, don't try to escape. But Smoker, Onagumo, how could the 5 Vice Admiral give up and chase them away immediately? Bang. Boom. But what greeted them was the powerful sniping of Rayleigh and Sabo. Sorry, this road is blocked. Rayleigh and Sabo had the same hideous smile. Dad, do we want to help them too? Let Big Brother Luffy go to sea successfully. In the distance, looking at Shajariing, who was about to end the excitement, she tilted her head to look at Shajarching and asked. No problem, Big Brother Luffy can go to sea successfully. Shajarching, Isho, has no idea of making a move. Boom. Just as Zantaomaru and the others were going to continue their pursuit, Onagumo gave the warship an order to attack again. Above the sky, it suddenly landed and exploded with a rolling thunder, which interfered with the signal and caused huge waves in the sea. This kind of person, actually shot. The Straw Hat Luffy is really an amazing person. I really want to see him with my own eyes. Fujitora looked a little surprised, and then thought so. This battle made him become interested in Straw Hat Luffy. The pirates don't seem to be completely vicious people. Just like the Emperor, although he does things recklessly, at least he is good to the people. As for who the Emperor in his mouth is, it is self-evident. In the end, the Straw Hats successfully set sail, opened the film that had been plated a long time ago, and dived underwater. And at the moment when they dived underwater, the elegant man left, and the 2 masked men burst out with energy and left. Hercules flew away, Debaloo left with the Flying Fish Army. The Shemale troops also left in a hurry, scattered and disappeared without a trace, and there was no way to chase them. As for Sabo, Rayleigh, Ace. Then no more, Marines. Enjomo, Blaze Net. Ace created a huge flame wall to isolate Marine from his rebellion, and then disappeared on the battlefield in a few seconds. Before leaving, he did not forget to remind Bartolomeo, hurry up and leave. Don't get caught. These words made Bartolomeo, who was planning to cast a barrier, immediately leave with his men. The rain has stopped and the clouds have dissipated. It seems that nothing happened, but it all happened. Damn. Damn. But how can Onagumo and others be reconciled? The good prey was fled right in front of my eyes. It was really embarrassing. Chapter 837 The Sprout of a New Era. Is the new era unstoppable after all? Fujitora put his sword in the sheath and whispered, then let me see what the new era will look like and how it will develop. Then, he gave orders to sort out the follow-up of the war. These comatose pirates should be arrested and dealt with. Then, restore order, and then report to the headquarters, and strengthen the monitoring and protection of the sea to prevent the pirates from causing chaos. The wonderful show is over. Sakura, we should go home. Shajarching got up and left with Shajariing. Daddy, talking doesn't count. Didn't you say you won't take action? Why did you still take action? When she was about to leave the pavilion, Shajariing suddenly looked at Shajarching and said this. Xiao Yingying can't wrong me. I didn't make a move. Did you see me making a move? Shajarching immediately shouted wronged. It's the shot. Don't try to fool Sakura. Shajariing said very firmly. Okay, my little princess is right. Shajarching could only raise his hand to surrender. Shajariing hummed twice, expressing pride. When taking Shajarching to a certain place, 2 people suddenly appeared in front of Shajarching. Thank you. It's Sabo and Ace. Thank me for what I did. I didn't do anything. Shajarching looked at the 2 and said this. Hee. In this regard, Sabo and Ace looked at each other and said nothing. Some words are unbelievable. Have your own judgment. I am really looking forward to Luffy, what kind of surprises he will bring us. After Shajarching left with Shajariing, the 2 looked at the vast sea and said so. With Luffy's current strength and status, he should be able to make a lot of noise. Ace said confidently, I have to do my best, or I will be left behind by Luffy. One Piece King of Pirates, may be mine. Luffy is not the only one who wants to be One Piece King of Pirates. And his Portgas. Ace. Then wait to see you two perform. Hee, One Piece King of Pirates, what a coveted title. Sabo looked at Ace with a longing look on his face, and thought so in his heart. Of course. Ace Isho, full of confidence. Marine Headquarters. What, you let Straw Hat Luffy escape? When he heard the news from Fujitora, Akainu was completely stunned. Why would such a strong lineup still lose? Buster Call level troops, plus an admiral. Can't even catch a rising star of the Straw Hat Pirates. It's just hilarious. Isn't this a joke? What the hell is going on? Isho, you better give me a reasonable explanation. Akainu's tone was extremely low, and he was on the verge of an angry roar. Fujitora Isho started to explain the process calmly. When he heard that Ace and Sabo had all joined the battle, Akainu clenched his fists and clucked. There is an angry flame in his eyes, which can shoot out and burn everything. Akainu wasn't supposed to get angry so easily. However, the sequelae brought by the lava fruit to him is this. Like one of Luffy's tendons, it is affected by the rubber fruit. After hearing that Rayleigh and a group of mysterious people he didn't know helped the Straw Hats, Akainu couldn't wait to tear them all up now. This Straw Hat boy, the threat is really getting bigger and bigger. We must raise the level of vigilance against him. Akainu gave the order, post a new bounty for the Straw Hats. The pace of the times has begun again. Shajir-Ching, what exactly do you want to do? What is your purpose? What exactly do you want to do to build such a huge force? World Government Mariajoy, on the Void Throne, with I am leaning on the seat, murmured like this. He watched the entire battle, and he could naturally see that Shajir-Ching also intervened. It's just that I am was curious why Shajir-Ching was interested in the Straw Hat Luffy gang. What did Shajir-Ching like about a junior like Straw Hat Luffy? Marine Headquarters. After reporting, Fujitora withdrew. But I have to admit that this time Fujitora took it for granted. If he had given the order from the beginning, the continuous shelling of a certain area of the Sabayati archipelago, then, it is impossible for the Straw Hats to go to sea successfully. Even if Ace and Sabo wanted to stop it, it was difficult to do so. Fighting above the sea, Fujitora's fruit ability has a considerable advantage. But what is missed is what has been missed, and there is no way to make up for it. Moreover, according to Fujitora's temperament, it is impossible for him to issue such a bombardment order. After all, there are innocent people above the Sabayati archipelago. With Fujitora's temperament, it is impossible to issue an order before the safety of Kakesing cannot be guaranteed. Unless he is replaced by Akainu, he will not hesitate to issue an attack order directly. But this time the boss is Fujitora, so Luffy and the others are destined to have a chance to leave. The new era, let me see what it is. Straw Hat Luffy, don't let me down. On the way back to Nine Snake Island, Shajir-Ching looked at the direction of Sabayati archipelago and said in his heart. Driving on the windless belt where everyone's discoloration changed, Shajir-Ching was like traveling, without the slightest bit of vigilance and panic. And those terrifying sea kings in the windless belt did not appear at all, and they came out to attack the ships of Shajir-Ching and Shajir-Riang's father and daughter. As if they couldn't sense Shajir-Ching's father and daughter at all, they went down their boat incomparably indifferently. Hee, these guys are in a good mood today, they are swimming so happily. Shajir-Ching looked at the sea kings under the sea and said with a smile. Really, why do I feel that they are so scary that they will rush out and eat us? Shajir-Riang clutched Shajir-Ching's clothes tightly, and her face was full of fear. Ha ha ha, don't worry, Daddy is here, if they dare to scare you, I will chop them up to shock you. Shajir-Ching touched Shajir-Riang's little head and comforted her. Well, Daddy is the best, Daddy is the best. After receiving Shajir-Ching's assurance, the look of fear on Shajariang's face suddenly decreased a lot. Then, fell asleep. It's easy to get sleepy when sailing at sea. If these sea kings knew that Shajariang thought they were terrible, they would probably feel extremely wronged. In terms of terrifying level, who can compare to your father? That is the strongest and most terrifying monster in this windless belt. Chapter 838 One Piece, King of Pirates, who doesn't want to be? That's all it takes to communicate with us. But in a place 4 or 5 kilometers under the sea, it is really scary to be able to physically fight a sea king with a length of 700 or 800 meters. Simply tyrannical and not like a human being. At least, these sea kings have survived in the windless belt for so long, and they have never seen a man as terrifying as Shajariang. At the beginning, there were several sea kings that they regarded as unprovocable, and they died easily in the hands of Shajariang. As soon as this guy was bored, he ran into the sea to fight with these sea kings. In the past 2 years, except for the old antique sea emperors that have lived for 300 or 400 years, the rest didn't enter Shajariang's belly because of being fierce and unknowingly. He was directly overpowered by Shajariang. They saw that Shajariang was hiding and won't win, provoke him. Haven't lived that long, don't want to die. Others crossed the windless belt, trembling with fear. And Shajariang passed the Sea King class. It was really like a walk in the garden. Of course, since the base is on 9 Snake Island, the sea surface in the windless zone is naturally built with marine train tracks. There are not many big ones, there is only one, which is used to transport valuables. Most of the rest of the items are still carried by transport ships. Just as Shajariang brought Shajariang back to 9 Snake Island, she was scorned by Anna. Those eyes were full of resentment, making Shajariang's scalp numb, and he raised his hand to surrender. Really, what kind of status are you now? You are still so messy, running around with Shajariang. What is the situation in Sabayati Archipelago now? How dangerous it is? If something goes wrong with Sakura, how will you explain it to me? I said to you, can you save me some snacks? After all, he is also the leader of the 6 emperors. Can you be a little dignified? Xiao Ying will take her away when she acts like a spoiled child. You really spoiled her. What if she becomes a rude little girl from now on? Listening to Anna's nagging, Shajariang's head is getting bigger. It was the first time he knew that Anna's nagging skills were so powerful. However, Sakura, you can do it. Sabayati Archipelago dares to let your father take you there. Do you still have my mother in your eyes? Looking at Shajariang, who already felt bad and was about to slip away, Anna's face suddenly became quite dangerous. No, they are just curious about what's going on there. How can they not have you in their eyes? You are the best. Xiao Yingying is good. Really, if you don't believe me, ask Dad. Oh, dear mother, don't be angry. I know it's wrong. Really, I know it's wrong. I'll definitely not next time. Mom, laugh. It doesn't look good with a sullen face. Shajariang took Anna's plain hand, shook it non-stop, and kept saying coquettishly. Okay, I really convinced you. Where did you learn your coquettish skills? You are really a master without a teacher. Anna has absolutely no way to take Shaji Sakura. This mouth is really sweeter than honey. The acting skills are enough to win more than a dozen Oscar statuettes, and the acting is called a sincere expression. It's so hard to blame her. He, Mom is the best, so is Dad. Seeing Anna sighed helplessly, Shajariang suddenly showed a winner's smile. Then, holding the hands of Shajariang and Anna, they walked into the 9 Snake Island together. Aunt Hancock. Before arriving at the 9 Snake Island Palace, Shajariang flew over as if she had seen Hancock. Sakura, is Sabayati Archipelago fun? Hancock, who has always been arrogant and indifferent, rarely has the tenderness of a woman when facing Shajariang. He, it's fun. I saw a lot of interesting things, you listen to me. Shajariang immediately danced with excitement, shook her little head, and began to talk excitedly. Starting from entering the Sabayati Archipelago, it has been talking about the Straw Hat Luffy going to sea. Shajariang and Anna helplessly sat down beside Hancock, and it was only summer from Hancock's hands, so they started teasing. The little guy's thief spirit was amused by Shajariang and smiled. The New World, in the Whitebeard stronghold. Ace, how is it? Did the little guy go to sea successfully? Whitebeard gulped down 2 sips of wine and asked. Of course, that's Luffy, the guy who always works miracles. Hearing Whitebeard's question, Ace was quite happy. Whitebeard grinned isho. Cool, that little guy, just like Roger back then, One Piece king of pirates, maybe he can really make it. Hearing Whitebeard's words, everyone couldn't help but be a little surprised. Dad, you rate this Straw Hat Luffy a little too high. Diamond Jozu asked with his arms crossed. There is some doubt in his eyes. What did he hear? He suddenly heard Whitebeard say that the Straw Hat Luffy is more likely to become One Piece king of pirates than Shajariang. What a joke! If it was meant for Whitebeard to say this, Diamond Jozu would have already started mocking. Now in the sea, who doesn't know that the person most likely to become One Piece king of pirates is Shajariang? He has an overwhelming advantage that no one can match. Competing with him, even Whitebeard, Kaido of the Beasts, who are also the 6 emperors, Big Mom has no chance of winning. After all, in terms of strength and intelligence, Shajariang has incomparable advantages. But now Whitebeard actually said that a mere Straw Hat Luffy might have a greater chance of becoming One Piece king of pirates than Shajariang. This is simply a fantasy. The rest of the squad leaders also showed their approval. In their eyes, the Straw Hat Luffy was just a rookie. Even if he did well in the top battle. But just because he is a newcomer, he wants to compete with monsters like Shajariang for One Piece king of pirates in the fierce new world, no matter how he thinks it is impossible. That may not be the case. Although the Straw Hat Luffy may not be as powerful as the monster Shajariang, he is quite an unexpected existence. He can never be judged by normal logic when he does things. Maybe he can really do it. Marco sat on the end of the bed, half asleep, very tired. Ha ha ha, that kind of scene is really interesting when I think about it. However, I don't intend to hand over the One Piece king of pirates to others. Whether it's Luffy or Shajariang's boss, I will also compete with them for the position of One Piece king of pirates. Ace's eyes were burning with raging flames, and the fighting spirit was quite enthusiastic. Cool, let's go, Ace. Man, chase your dreams, don't forget when you encounter any difficulties, you are part of my Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard is quite encouraging for Ace to pursue One Piece king of pirates. Children grow up to have their own ideas. Chapter 839. This feeling is very bad. Yes, Dad, thank you so much. Ace clenched his fists excitedly. Baldic, the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army. How did it work? In the darkness, a man shrouded in a cloak asked Sabo, who had just returned. Very successful. Luffy has a lot of partners. They all helped Luffy to let him go to sea successfully, Sabo said with a smile on his face. When the young eagle has grown up, it is time to fight against the sky and become taller than the Duke of Heaven. Dragon, the man shrouded in the cloak, said so. If you look closely, you will find a trace of excitement and pride in his eyes. Continue our actions. In the past 2 years, our achievements have become bigger and bigger, subverting the world government. We can do it. Dragon returned to normal in an instant, and issued an order. Understood. Sabo stepped back with a smile, but his face was still filled with an excited smile. Marine Headquarters. Revolutionary Army. Revolutionary Army. Akainu held the dragon's reward, his eyes gloomy. Dragon was once his colleague. He once thought that Dragon could become an admiral like him and defend the justice of Marine. Unexpectedly, he finally stood on the opposite side of the world government. Maria Joy. In order to restore the strength of Marine and ourselves, and to support the Beast's pirates, the Bigumam pirates, we let the Revolutionary Army take the opportunity to invade a lot of territory. Hornbird Gorose, 5 elders eyes full of murderous intent. However, I have already missed a good opportunity to destroy the Revolutionary Army. I have a hunch that the connection between the Summer Chamber of Commerce and the Revolutionary Army must not be small. The blonde Gorose, 5 elders sighed, looking a little dejected. It's hard to see this in people like them. Yes, I think so too. The development of the Revolutionary Army is too fast. Gorose, 5 elders, holding the second generation of ghosts, pushed his eyes, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. In the past 2 years, the development speed of the Revolutionary Army has suddenly made a qualitative leap. From the previous organization without belief, to the current system and belief, the organization is highly efficient. It's like it suddenly hangs up, like God's help. And looking at the entire sea, the only person who has this ability is the one from the Summer Chamber of Commerce. Hornbird Gorose, 5 elders. The most important thing is that the behemoth of the Summer Chamber of Commerce is already strong enough, but it has joined forces with the Whitebeard pirates and the Flying Pirates. If such a despairing behemoth were to unite with the Revolutionary Army and advance and retreat together, then, they already have the power to subvert the world government and marine, and there is no chance for us to turn over at all. The bearded suit Gorose, 5 elders sighed and said the last sentence with sharp eyes. In the whole world, there is no power that can match them. The strength of their alliance made Yimu silent for a while, speechless. Gorose, 5 elders in kimono holding the second generation of Onishi. And, I don't know why, I always have a feeling that we are starting to fall behind, a feeling that has never happened in the 800 years since the establishment of the world government. Quote. Sure enough, the root cause of all this is the existence of Shajirqing. If only the Gorose, 5 elders had known that Shajirqing was so difficult and dangerous. Then, when he hadn't grown up yet, even if they paid a huge price, they would have destroyed Shajirqing. And what worries them the most is that Shajirqing and the other seniors are undercurrent, accumulating strength and preparing to subvert the world at the same time. Those New Age guys, like the supernovas represented by the Straw Hat Luffy, are also on the rise. And, not restless at all, frantically restless. Blonde Gorose, 5 elders. This sea is increasingly beyond the control of our world government. And LT, P and GT. Maybe one day, it's really just like O'Hara's prophecy. The sea will eventually become one, the light of freedom will eventually fall, and the world government and Tenryubito will eventually suffer the consequences and be driven off the high platform to face trial. Quote. Hearing this, the other 4 Gorose, 5 elders fell silent. But there was a terrifying gleam in their eyes. Obviously, they all know clearly that this prophecy has a high chance of being fulfilled. The atmosphere was a little depressing all of a sudden. Why was O'Hara killed by Buster Call in the first place? They are so knowledgeable that being able to interpret ancient texts is one aspect. On the other hand, because they predicted the future of the world government. And the answer they predicted, once known by the sea, will inevitably turmoil the world government. Therefore, Marine was dispatched by the world government to destroy it with Buster Call. Maybe it's time for us to act. It's not necessarily a good thing to wait. The long-bearded Gorose, 5 elders stroked their beards, half smiles, and said murderously. Maybe, really, the other 4 Gorose, 5 elders agreed. It's really fast, Luffy. It only took 2 days to reach the New World. Humph, it's even within my sphere of influence. So, what interesting collisions will you have with the local guards? Shajirqing looked at the information in his hand with a full face. On that island, Nami and Robin are all there. One of them is to draw and survey nautical charts, and the other is to decipher the ancient ruins discovered. And that island is Tezzolo's territory, and he guards there as Admiral, the gatekeeper of the Summer Chamber of Commerce. It is Dabalu Island, which is called Going Island by the world. As long as it is a pirate, no one wants to occupy this island. Of course, this is where possible. but basically impossible to capture. Because this island is really a terrible fortress, with strong firepower, comparable to Buster Call, can easily destroy an island. So much so that he has the name, Gate of Hell to the New World. On this island, there are several more powerful existences. One of them is Huyuina, the woman who claims to be the Queen of Beheading, and Didia, who is in danger, came here. Didia, the steaming power, has a bounty of 300 million Bailey. Hulina, the Queen of Beheading, has a bounty of 298 million Bailey. Coupled with a group of powerful guards on the island, and Tezzolo guarding, backed by a certain harbor, it can be said that it is easy to defend and difficult to attack. Didia and Hulina came here purely because staying on Nine Snake Island was too boring. The two of them are naturally aggressive, and they are not used to it if they don't fight for a day. So that Zoro was either on the way to training or fighting with the two girls. After getting used to Zoro's battle, the two who felt that they had lost their freshness, came here to fight against the masters who came to the New World from all walks of life. If you haven't fought with them, you don't have to be in the New World. Chapter 840 Absolutely no conflict. Now. It's so big. The Straw Hats, who had just left Fishman Island, looked at the island in front of them and couldn't help but exclaimed. What unfolded before them was not an island, but a small continent. At a glance, you can't see the edge, and in the middle is a pillar that reaches the sky, and I don't know what it does. Usopp's voice trembled with fright. Are we really going to land on this island? This is the territory of the head of the 6 emperors. Usopp's words were approved by Kurina, a certain unscrupulous skeleton. No, I'm afraid this is not up to us. Once we enter here, we have no possibility of retreating, we can only go. Kurina looked at everyone with a solemn expression, and everyone just looked at her. Daburu Island, also known as Going Island, the gate of the New World. After passing through here, it officially entered the power of the New World. And this island, built in the Arc Moon Bay and the Going Rapids, the rules of passage are only going, not retreating. If you don't believe me, just look behind you. Do you think we can step back in the face of such torrents? Hearing this, Sanji and the others couldn't help but look at him immediately. Then, I saw a turbulent torrent, which had the power to smash the island, and constantly push the Wanli Sunshine to going. The scope covered is more than 10,000 feet, and the power of a stir, at least several million jun. In front of the rapids, the Wanli Sunshine is like a young ant, and there is no room for maneuver at all. Frankie even said, even with full power, you can't turn the slightest bit. If you make a mistake, the Wanli Sunshine will be smashed to pieces. As expected of Shajir with blood pupils, what a terrible guy. You can also build a base in such a place. Just like the 2 maelstroms of the Judgment Tower and the Bridge of Hesitation in the Judgment Fa Island back then, they are simply sailing Jedi. It is impossible to do this without the wealth of enemy nations. His face was quite solemn. It is said that when it was built, there was no way to proceed. It was Shajir who slashed the ocean with one sword, and this indestructible fortress was built step by step. The interior is all made of sea stone, and it is completely integrated, even the Sea King can't be destroyed. The level of sturdiness is comparable to Impel Down. Kurina said again. The guard above is Going Emperor Tesoro, with a bounty of 1.3 billion. There are various generals under it. Luffy brother, don't conflict with them, we are definitely not their opponents. There are 2 strongholds of the Summer Chamber of Commerce on the road after this sea area. We have no way to go back, and we can't escape at all. Jinbei was even on it. He looked at Luffy and said, Fishman Island is blessed by the Summer Chamber of Commerce. If there is a conflict with the Summer Chamber of Commerce, Fishman Island will definitely lose its protection and suffer disaster. I can only apologize to His Excellency Shajir with my body. Luffy was silent for a while after hearing the words, covered his hat and said, Yo Gata, I know the horror of that man, as well as his methods and conduct. I won't conflict with him. Hearing his words, Karina and Jinbei breathed a sigh of relief at the same time. The two of them knew the horrors of the Summer Chamber of Commerce best. Oh, the Straw Hats are here too. It's fun, it's really fun. Then let me see what surprises they can bring me. In a room on the island, Tezulo was sipping red wine and looking at the Straw Hat gang who came into the port, showing an expression of anticipation. I have been practiced by the president for half a year, and I think it should be very strong. Just let me try my hand. Tezulo was always arrogant and was not interested in fighting, but in fact, he was an out-and-out fighting maniac. It's even worse than Enel. Are the Straw Hats here too? Humph, I'm really looking forward to it. Time supernova, don't be as vulnerable as some supernovas. The pirate group gathered on Dabaru Island thought with such anticipation in their hearts. Hundreds of millions of pirates have come here, and the Straw Hats are not the strongest, but they must be the most conspicuous. These rebellious pirates from all over the world all want to fight against him. Luffy and his party entered the island. They were shocked by the prosperity of the island. What unfolded in front of them was an endless scene of feasting and splendor. The high-rise buildings that reach into the sky are densely and neatly arranged. All kinds of advanced machinery and equipment are running continuously, delivering all kinds of things needed to various commercial centers. There are people everywhere, shoulder to shoulder, noisy. There is a dazzling array of things to sell, and the voices of hawking and shouting have never been cut off. There is money, freedom, joy in the air. This is the real city that never sleeps. Brooke sighed sincerely. Everything in front of them was too visually impactful. This kind of prosperity is beyond their imagination. Several people were completely dazzled. What is called an international metropolis, this is it. Sanji almost got stuck in the pile of young beauties and didn't want to leave. The strength of the power is really amazing and terrifying. Ji Liang couldn't help but look solemn. This is just a corner of the Summer Chamber of Commerce, and it is already so terrible. How terrible is the complete Summer Chamber of Commerce? Powerful people simply can't give birth to the heart of confrontation. He thought in his heart. And after Luffy and the others arrived on Going Island, the newspapers from Marine were also spread here. There isn't much to say about the above. Mainly because of the loud noises in the ocean recently. And among so many things, the thing that attracts the most attention is the thing about the Straw Hat Luffy in Sabayati Archipelago. In front of the Buster Call level troops led by Admiral Fujitora, they were still successfully broken through and sailed successfully. This incident completely shocked the world. It has brought many pirates to a higher level of awareness of the Straw Hats. It's amazing, you can escape under Buster Call. Is this the foundation of silence for 2 years? It's really scary. Many people held newspapers and spoke out with such emotion. There are people who were panicked. But it definitely does not include the people on Dabalu Island. However, it's really good enough. Straw Hat Luffy's bounty is already the highest among all supernovas. Someone was holding the new bounty for the Straw Hats that came along with the newspaper and couldn't help but say. The reward order in their hands is as follows. Captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy, with a bounty of 500 million Baileys. The Swordsman Kukuli, the bounty is 322 million Bailey. Sanji Kurozu, a bounty of 219 million Baileys. The King of Snipers, Usopp, has a bounty of 90 million Baileys. Transformer Cardi French Flam with a bounty of 99.9 million Bailey. The King of Souls, Brook, has a bounty of 88 million Baileys. Genius Navigator Karina, with a bounty of 75 million Baileys.